man. And it just, Windows.
It wears you down,
And by the way, in those days, you could pick which updates you wanted and stuff, so I knew what was going on. Now, Katie barred the door. It's our spring update. Well, what the hell's that mean?
Right.
We're springing you into being screwed. That's what it means. We're evil. Remember all that hate I've got for the Mac and Apple? I've got plenty left in the Tizank, you know what I'm saying?
Man, when you said Tizank like that, it made me think of that Snoop interview. And did you hear him quote us? He's like, it was all down to the Amigos, man, the future Amigos.
That's right, man.
He's talking about us.
That was pretty funny, actually.
Let's see. I love Snoop. I mean, I think he's actually, like, I like his music.
Oh, I like some of his stuff.
Yeah.
As far as rappers go, I think he's real good.
This is AL8. ALE81. Yeah. So it's actually a late one. Like, it's a...
Are you talking to somebody or are you talking to me?
I'm talking to Jonas.
You didn't tell me we were streaming.
Oh, yeah. We've been
streaming
for years. I just
started talking. I was like, I know what L81 is, you goof.
Let's see. Pop out chat.
Do they have Diet L81?
That's a sin.
I know, it's true. They used to have it on tap at the Dairy Queen I used to go to for lunch.
Really?
Yeah.
You're wearing your mic lower than normal.
No.
Seems
I can raise it.
Because normally it interferes with
Just go about clip it on my beard. No, I've started doing that for. I usually leave it off center as well.
Maybe I'm just haven't been paying attention. Well, I just gotta adjust your levels. Gotta adjust my levels too. Man, I'm real quiet. Is this the right mic? Omnidirectional, yeah. Okay.
Omnidirectional.
It just seems like we're real quiet. Where's our?
That's because we're shy.
Let me just make sure I've got everything tuned properly.
Don't let me walk out of here tonight without the wheel, the green screen, and the hot dogs.
Okay.
That's those have to be taken, especially the hot dogs. The other stuff not so important.
Do you have buns at home?
I got buns out there. Those will have to come in, but the hot dogs couldn't leave those out.
You going to do some weenie roasting tonight?
No, they're out having dinner right now. So I don't know why I even bought them. Don't ask me questions, but I don't know what I'm doing.
Where did you buy them?
I got them at the little shopping center there in Milton.
Oh, the Save-A-Lot?
Yeah.
Oh, what's it like in there? I've never been in there.
It's old school. It's been there forever. You've never been in there?
Isn't that crazy? Like, I've been in the Piggly Wiggly, but I've never been in the Save-A-Lot.
It's a lot like the Piggly Wiggly. Let's put it that way.
Hey, Duncan.
What's up, fellas? It's go time.
You ready?
All right. It? Are we? Oh, hold on a second here.
Okay.
Oh, slam on the brakes there, son. What do you got on tap for tonight?
So we're going to do feedback.
We got a lot of We've got lots of feedback.
Lots of feedback.
Man, that letter you sent me, that was a heck of a.
Yeah,
I did look that guy up.
Yeah.
Oh, we're out of that lead.
Yeah.
Big time.
So I'm gonna read a portion of that on the show tonight, and then we got other feedback.
Back there.
Okay.
Where'd I put it?
I don't know.
I brought a visual aid.
Oh.
I'm gonna go get it.
Did you bring your life-size Captain Caveman doll?
I am. Life-size. Oh, I do have a list of the caveman. We're gonna go into that before we play the game.
Don't forget I need to mention. Yeah. There's. I'll talk about it later.
Where the hell did I put that? I know I got it out. Did you see it in a manila envelope that I brought and sat down on the table?
I don't think you brought in that.
I did. I pulled it out of my book bag and I set it right there. Pick it up and move it around.
No, I never moved.
That sounds like something you would do. I mean, you might not have known it was mine.
This table is blank. I'll leave it blank. Oh, give me that pack of cigarettes right there.
Oh boy. Get the little indoor. Those are great.
Yeah.
I know exactly what they are. And by great, I mean horrible.
Yeah. Hey, creepy dead boy. How's it going? Boy. Sometimes I can get real loud.
He's a creepy dead boy.
You know,
what the hell's he doing here?
That song seems like it could go either way between Radiohead and Coldplay.
Yeah?
Yeah. All right.
I don't know who sang it.
It's Radiohead, and that was their first song.
Good tune.
Yeah.
For a college band.
Bam!
For a college band. Nothing? You just no-sold it. What are you looking at?
Sorry, I was thinking about something else.
Chastise me.
Well,
you're taking the fun out of it for me. Usually you love to browbeat me.
Yeah.
Not tonight. You're off kilter.
No, I was trying to think about maybe we should talk about these in the insert disc too.
Consider I have no idea where you're going with that. You're right. I've got this.
Okay. So are we ready? So we're going to do feedback.
Oh, let me get
I'll
that.
do all my feedback, and then I'll kick it to you for news.
Kick it back, Holmes.
And then you kick it back to me, and then I introduce the game.
What do you think about being live? It's been a while, and we're back.
I know.
We're back live.
I know.
It's good to see
That's
you,
right.
folks. I'm
That's
glad to
right.
see y'all remembered us.
Jonas says his college music was Primus and Alice in Chains.
Man, I'll tell you, here's how much I hate Primus.
I knew you hated Primus.
All right, I hate Primus so much that Rush came to Cincinnati, and I love Rush. But they were Primus was opening for them.
Really?
And there was no chance. I was going because not only did I have to set through Primus to get the Rush, all those weirdo Primus fans are going to be out.
They're an odd group, and I would not picture them as a group that would go over real well with the Rush fans.
One word, bass. Their
Well,
basis is off the charts. And
I
him
know.
and Geddy Lee are buddies.
Yeah, that's probably true.
No, they are.
Let's see here. I want to make sure that we have.
Bass, how low can you go?
Need to go over here to the advanced audio properties.
Now, why are you poking the bear, Bo?
Because I got to downmix this to mono, or else it's going to sound weird on the stream.
You're like we're gonna.
If you're not downmixing to mono,
I got.
sorry, and it's also a good. Okay, guys, I know that it's not, you won't be able to hear us when we're switching scenes. I'm trying to figure out why that is. And we're back.
I never linked up. It's the most popular one.
But just imagine how much more popular it would be once it hits the heavily trafficked pages
I thought
of Google+.
ARG would be the most up and down show we've gotten. It is. But man, Insert Disc 2 is all over the map. Like that one week that you named it something Walker, like there was nobody listening to that. And then like the next week, I can't remember what we were talking about. It was like through the roof.
Right.
I was like, what's going on?
Yeah. Well, I think even that, let's do a quick check on the stats. I'm curious about that. Oh, Daniel Cordell is here.
Holy smokes. Oh, Danny boy.
Oh, yeah, I need to rename.
Dan is a commenting machine.
This is Amigos Live. Yeah, sorry, I always forget to change the header before we start.
I often take a header.
Really? Like in soccer?
No, like falling off and landing on my head.
Is that what they call that?
Yeah, taking a header. You never heard it called that before?
That sounds like something from some 80s movie. Okay. So that's good. That's done.
Man.
Okay. That's good. That's good.
I'm trying to look at all the stuff that we haven't mentioned for... When was the last time we actually taped? Do you remember?
3 weeks ago.
Holy smokes. Well, I'm just going to leave that up then. We got to go over some, because there's some good stuff here.
Well, I mean, we can do an extended news segment.
Oh, we're going to, buddy.
Yeah. Let me fire up the Jiggle Plus page over here.
No,
the Juggle.
Yeah. What is Juggle?
It's what happens when you try and say G Plus and Google at the same time.
Is that what it is? Juggle?
Let's see. Browser. That looks terrible. What if I go full screen?
Go full screen on it.
And then do a little of this. Bam.
You know, I have fooled with OBS quite a bit here recently. It's a fickle beast. And it will... I was trying to edit stuff with it. I can see, I can partially understand why you record stuff live and just don't screw with it, because to go back and add stuff in, I have to set through
You have to watch it in real time.
Right, and so I watched mine and Brent's show all the way through twice. Then I added the stuff I wanted, And literally, and when I was finished up, I'm like, oh, this looks pretty good. That's when you call or sent me the message. Everything's changed. We're back, and I was like, son of a gun, because I'd put dates up in text.
Oh, well.
I've done all this, and so I had to just chop the end of the episode off. I was like, well, screw it. It's just like the guillotine.
I'm sorry, man.
It wasn't your fault. That's good. It's a good thing.
Okay. I think we're ready.
Jesus, my hot rod. That's what I haven't thought about for a while.
Is that a Primus song?
Huh? It's a song.
Is it not a Primus song?
I think it's been a long time. I haven't heard of it.
I remember there was Winona had a big brown beaver. People thought that was hilarious.
The Primus songs are all like...
Yeah. It's sort of like a weird kind of rap.
You're close. It's rap with a silent C at the beginning.
It's sort of like the guy from the B-52s also. His shtick, you know?
He's a lot wackier.
Yeah.
And he actually sort of kind of attempts to sing, and he's like the male Stevie Nicks. That's what he reminds me of.
Interesting.
Think about that, yeah.
Interesting.
If they ever had a kid, that kid's voice would destroy the earth. I don't think it's gonna happen.
You know what's funny?
Yes.
There was a kid with a X-Men shirt on, and it was like the old school X-Men with and I was like, who's that guy? And I didn't know who he was.
Thunderbird?
And he's like, I don't know. And I was like, well, what about that guy? I was like, I don't know. These guys aren't in any of the movies, Mr. Schaller. I don't know who they are.
He wore a shirt with guys on I didn't know. It could have been like Kiss a Man's Foot Man or something, or like Scrubs Toilet Guy.
Right. And so there were like half the X-Men on his shirt. He didn't know who they were because they haven't made an appearance in any of the movies.
What I would do as a cautionary tale for others is just fail that kid. Just fail him and say, listen, come to class with something on it you know. Bring you know what he should have on his shirt? It's a big picture of a phone. I'd say you would bring that over.
That's what you know.
I'm kind of down on the new generation right now.
I was trying to see if I could look it up real quick, but
I'm sure you can narrow it down. Just type in X-Men T-shirt.
It seems like there are many X-Men T-shirts. I find that shocking.
And there are about 400 renditions.
This is literally it right here.
Let me see this thing, and I'll see how I do in the X-Men challenge.
Put the browser up here.
Get off my lawn. He's got it. Let me tell you something, dude. I just mowed my lawn the other day with my electric lawnmower. I don't want anyone touching my lawn right now, including rain, because I don't ever want to do that again. It was brutal.
So this is it.
Now that is the Chris Claremont lineup.
Okay. And
can you not make it big?
No.
Can you just... There you go. All right. So you got... Oh, yeah. There he is.
This guy...
That's Banshee.
This guy right here.
That's Banshee.
Banshee. He had no idea about Banshee.
That's Colossus.
This guy.
Angel.
He had no idea who Angel was.
That's Cyclops. That's the Wolverine in the front.
He thought that this was Cyclops.
No, that's Colossus. See that girl off to the side in the green? That's Jean Grey in her pre-Phoenix baloney outfit. Then that was Iceman, and I believe up on the right was Thunderbird, the guy that died in issue 100.
This guy?
No, down.
This guy.
Is there a guy above him? I can't quite make... No, down. What is that?
This is a hand of this man.
Okay, I couldn't quite tell from
Or it might be Thunderbird.
Due to my blind. No, that Thunderbird's the Indian guy.
Oh, okay. I thought... Oh. Isn't there some guy named Apache War Chief or something like that?
Apache Chief? That's a DC guy.
Oh, that was DC's version of
You get a failing grade for that comic.
I get a failing grade for all things.
Now here's
comics.
the big test. What does Apache Chief say to get big?
Apache power?
No, he goes, and I eat chalk.
What does that mean?
I guess it's a Native American for get big, would be my guess.
Interesting. He's a code talker.
He could be.
All right. Now that we got that settled.
Now we're just like this is like an act. This is it. I mean, we're not even recording.
My whole life's an act.
We're not even recording anything. It's just it's shtick, nonstop shtick. Because this is the way we actually are. It's sad. That is sad.
It's not sad. Think about the people that aren't us.
No.
That don't get to be like that.
I can't look at them because I feel bad about myself when I do that. Don't force me.
All right. You ready to start the show?
I was born ready.
All right.
I wasn't really. Oh, sorry.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Amigos. I'm John.
And I'm Aaron.
And today we're going to be talking about ugh. Huh.
Good God, y'all.
What is it good for?
Absolutely nothing.
This show is sponsored by AL8. It's not really, but it could be if you represent Ale 8. I got these this weekend, Memorial Day weekend, in my father's homeland of Louisville, Kentucky.
That's a great homeland for bar hopping.
This is, Ale 8 is a beverage that comes from Kentucky.
Yes.
This and bourbon are the two most valuable exports.
That's good drinking.
Yeah, it's kind of like a little bit of cherry 7-Up with a little bit of ginger ale.
These mix well with any sort of booze.
That's right.
I might add.
I'm into, maybe I'll save that for insert disc 2.
What's that?
I was going to have some Fireball this evening.
Oh, geez.
It's been a while
you
since
better
we opened
save
that up.
Yeah, Ale 8-1, the official drink in Kentucky. I was just telling both that they've got this, the non-cherry version of this on tap at the local Dairy Queen right down the street from where I work. So, and the diet version.
It's a magical place, Kentucky.
Now, why do you figure they call it Ale 8-1?
Well, I know the answer to that because on the label, it tells you the secret. So Ale 8-1 sort of sounds like a late one.
I kind of got that, yeah.
Now, why they call it a late one, maybe because it was popular in the late night soda joints back in the 30s.
Those existed?
I don't know.
Late night soda joints?
You know,
what
underground.
Did you do in there?
Just clandestine activities.
Is that where they had the underground domino ring or something?
With their drinking soda, you know.
Soda joint? How many urinals were in that joint? Hundreds. Because this stuff goes right through you.
It's right next door to the opium den.
I thought it had tons of caffeine in it. Let's see, shall we?
I don't know that caffeine level is given on a nutrition fact.
Well, I mean, I just assumed it would keep you awake. Wouldn't that be...
That's true. A late one. Like, I'm going out for a late one. Better take a 6 Ale 8.
But I've drank these, and I wasn't like... I mean, this right here takes care of your business on that.
That's true.
Or Diet Dewdrop Extreme.
The best.
You know, but still, thanks for the bottle of weird pop.
No problem. No problem. So, Aaron, we got some feedback from last week.
All right.
We had a couple new Patreon supporters.
All right.
Joe the Zombie wrote in.
Does Creepy Dead Boy know Joe?
I think they might be,
sort
of related.
In the graveyard.
He says, I love your podcast. Immediate supporter. You guys rock. Andrew Monks also became a supporter. And a third guy who wrote a letter to us, and he says, I write with many great thanks for your work, which has been amongst the most cheering elements of the past 6 months. He says, after a protracted period of illness and surgery last year, the show arrived just in time for rehabilitation work and reconditioning across the summer months, and I listened to the whole archive across that period.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
This guy's name is Raleigh Burke, and he had an A500 growing up. He bought it in October of 1989 when he was a tender young lad of 8, so he's the same age as me. He got it for Shadow of the Beast. Just like so many Amiga fans, yeah. And so he wrote us a real nice letter about how not only did he play games on the Amiga, but he also used the Amiga in terms of preparing visualizations, photogrammetry. I don't know what that is, but that sounds like something smart people do. And also conference presentations. So sometimes we forget in our world of the Amiga, which is all games all the time, that there's a lot of practical applications for the Amiga.
Just gaming.
And so thank you very much, Raleigh.
You know, I read Raleigh's letter, and Raleigh is one articulate individual.
He is.
He's a very astute man, and it was very nice. And I like getting... It's very, not to sound cornball, because I always say, but it's very humbling to get a note like that. I think to myself, someone of this caliber, or anybody's caliber, if you heard us talking before the show, this weird no brow humor.
It's even lower. It's funny because my head professor in Sheffield, when I was in England, he went to a university called Loughborough University.
Ooh.
And it's kind of a, I mean, it's not like, Oxford or Cambridge, but it's a pretty good university. And I looked at it, and because I was going to go interview one of his old teachers. And I looked at it, and I didn't know how to pronounce it. I said, so you went to Lowbrow University? He did not appreciate that at all. He's
getting yourself over worldwide,
he went, it's Loughborough. And then he just looked at me.
Loughborough sounds a lot better.
Yeah.
It sounds like a German beer.
It does. Luftbrausers.
Pop me open a Luftbrauer. Did I say that right?
I wish I could. I wish I had one right here.
Well.
We got some feedback about our Lethal Weapon episode. And so Figgy CTZ, Patreon supporter, he says he agrees with us about the game. It's a solid platform, and the controls are very refined. He loves the music, especially in the first level.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
he sees that there was a split in platformers from 93 and on. He said that that's when games like Super Frog, Simon the Sorcerer, Sleepwalker came out. He says that graphics kind of there was sort of a turning point in that between 92 and 93 where things just started to look a lot better, and Lethal Weapon was part of that. So,
and who'd have thunk it?
Yeah,
because that's a game I'd never ever played or even knew about.
His particular theory is that this was when the A1200 and the 4000 were coming out, and so more and more developers were developing for the Amiga and not just porting things from the ST to the Amiga at that point. So,
glorious days. Those days.
One more piece of feedback. Santar 5.
Ooh.
Wait a minute, no, it's Santar then 5 hours ago, but sorry.
Santar 5 sounds pretty good.
That does.
You can use that, Santar.
You have our permission. He says Lethal Weapon was the first game he tried with his 1 megabyte expansion for the 500.
Ooh.
Yeah. Extra memory detected.
Yes,
yeah.
I knew you were. I was waiting for it.
He says, my copy had a bug where it locked up when he tried to switch characters, so I always wondered how Murtaugh played. Another great thing about classic computer gaming.
How who played?
Murtaugh. Is that how you say it? Murtaugh?
No.
How do you say it?
It's not Murtaugh, is it?
How do you say it?
Well, I don't know. I never thought of it. Let me see what it looks like on the page.
Murtaugh.
Yeah, maybe. I guess so. I don't think that's the way they pronounce it.
Is it Loughborough?
It's been a while since I saw that movie.
You knew enough about it to tear me to pieces. I make one small mistake.
What are you talking about? You confuse it completely with Die Hard.
So thank you, Santar 5. We appreciate your patronage and your service.
And your made-up name.
That's true. Aaron.
I like just toss it aside.
It's been 3 weeks since our last live Amigos show. The news has been piling up.
Not really, no. But yeah, we have piled up quite a bit of news.
Before we get into the news, you have before you a manila, no, it's more of a plastic. It's one of those new style envelopes.
That's right.
You get things from China in those.
Well, this actually came from Florida, but I'm sure the contents were not from Florida.
Would you like to tell us about it?
Absolutely. So this is probably, you know, the old thing. If it's news to me. All right, this falls into that category. So you'll recall, Boat, that on the Amigos official retread Amiga 500, now we never had a power supply for that thing due to our cheapery, and so we used the old Polish
jury-rigged
gimmick.
That's right.
The old AT power supply.
They call it the Polish Miracle.
Is that what they call that? Well, hey, those parties look like the Polish Miracle from what I saw on the video. So anyway, one of the problems with the Amiga is that crazy power gimmick in the back. So I'm bebopping around eBay the other day, and lo and behold, look what I see on there as I pour this thing out. This, for you at home, is the power thing.
It's that weird, like,
this is it.
5 dice.
That's right.
Thing,
someone is manufacturing these bad boys and selling them. See, this goes in here. You put your wiring in. Wham, bam, Bob's your uncle.
Very nice.
So you could wire up practically anything you want to that power supply. Now, I think I paid like $7 for it, and they had a ton of these. Now, again, I hadn't seen them before, and we'd always lamented how you could never get them, and so they just appeared one day. And so if you're looking, if you get on eBay and just look,
what do you search for to find that?
Amiga power plug.
Okay,
that's what I looked up. In fact, I didn't even look it up. It just came up.
It just came to you.
It just came up. And so you've even got the casing here, and then you've got a gimmick here to put on the end of the cord.
I like that. Sort of spring-loaded.
Well, yeah. And so what you can do is, what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to wire this sucker up. Well, you know, I might use one of those. Remember we talked about the lady a couple weeks ago who did the video of her using that little micro power supply. This right here would go perfect with that. You do this on the end, wham, bam, Bob's your uncle.
Yeah.
That's what I'll probably try.
That sounds great.
And I'll shoot a video of it if I do. But anyway, hey, for $6 or $7, if you're looking for a cheap power supply alternative, there's your plug right there. I mean, you could make these, but like I said, I've been using that one that came from Poland that they sort of jury rigged, and it's, you know, it's quirky because it could pop out at any moment. So there you go. So just a little tidbit. If you don't know about it, now you know.
You ready to move on?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
The news.
So I'm just going to kind of arbitrarily get this because we've been gone for a little while. And I can't remember what we did and what we didn't do. So let's talk about Rough and Ready.
Okay.
This is the continuing saga of these cartoon games. Now, and from Hanna-Barbera. Now, I as I mentioned when I read this, this is another Dreamcatcher article, of course. I don't remember Rough and Ready.
Me neither.
At all.
Me neither.
And when I look at them, there's a vague familiarity to them, but
I'm shocked because you're normally this is normally something that's in your wheelhouse.
It's shocking to me. You know, I was like Rough, and the thing is, I remember when we kept getting Rough and Ready confused with another game we were
Rough and Tumble.
And you said it over and over. I think you even build it the next week. Or
Probably
next week, Rough
so.
and Ready. So, but this is an incredibly deep look into this game and all the various versions of it from Dreamcatcher. Speaking of him, here's another one. This one hit me hard. Dreamcatcher looked at the game, a Scooby-Doo game, but it's basically you can play as Scrappy Doo. You remember? Did you watch Scooby-Doo much?
Absolutely, I watched.
So you remember this little guy?
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't stand Scrappy, even in the old days. I never liked him. I didn't like gimmicky, cutesy characters. They would, and it seems like the cartoons had them every time.
They added them often. I think it was when the initial viewership started to flag, they needed to inject something in there.
Right, but I mean, okay. I'm just gonna go run through a few of these that always piss me off. Right. Okay, you got the Thundercats. All right, you got all these big buff killers, hot, Panther, Chipper.
Lion Woman.
Then you got here comes Snarf to come in here. You already got the darn twins. Do we need Snarf running around like an idiot?
What about that? What about the show with the twins and one of them? Then there was that blob. This was like Thunder,
Bleep and Gloop. They were okay because they didn't talk.
Okay.
But here's something that did talk. So you got another show with a bunch of buff killers. There's hot chicks aplenty, cool bad guy. You hear it's He-Man. Here comes freaking Orko. All right, another goofy character that no one asked for. No one wanted this guy.
Nobody asked for Orko.
Am I wrong here? Did you when you go out to get your action figure? It's like, let's see, I've got He-Man, I got Tila. Oh, I'm going to get the Orko character. He's a goof.
You needed a character like that in He-Man because He-Man was slightly frightening to the young children, and he needed somebody.
No, it was not.
It was slightly frightening to me.
You were scared of the He-Man characters?
Which one
scared you the most?
Skeletor. He's a skull face.
I'll give you that.
He's a skull face killer. He's one of
skull face. There's a rap name for you right there. But so anyway, Scrappy Doo was like them, but more annoying. I couldn't stand this little goof.
Yeah, I didn't like Scrappy Doo.
You know, another guy. You got Next Generation. You got these cool characters. Here comes Will, the 10-year-old that's manning the helm. Who thought that was a good idea?
Right.
Let's just let the kid man the helm of this intergalactic starship.
Now, did Babylon 5 have its own Will Crusher?
Absolutely not.
They were having no truck with any of that stuff.
No, they weren't going. Are you kidding me? That's a serious show. They don't have that kind of crap. Anyway, it's a good article. I've not played the Scooby and Scrappy game, and shan't be playing. I did watch the movie where they.
Oh my gosh!
Have you seen
that?
This?
Looks like an abomination.
No, it's actually the guy they got playing Shaggy's pretty good, but the Scooby's in or Scrappy's in the film, and I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but it's pretty amusing.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Oh, another one. Remember that you got the Super Friends, Superman, Batman. You always have here comes the Wonder Twins with their monkey.
Can't they also turn into water?
One can turn into water-based stuff. One of them can turn like animal-based stuff. Who got the worst end of that deal?
Yeah, that sounds.
Form of I remember they'd always Gleek would carry the bucket around so they could put that water guy in the bucket, and then Jaina would carry them all. She'd turn into an eagle or a giant hawk or something. Are you kidding me?
That's pretty dumb.
That's heredity really screwing you over. Yeah. You got the ability to turn into water. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Right.
Can
it be water in any form? Could it be like a gas?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you could do steam attack. It's right in the eyes.
It's still lame. Who wants it? What's your superpower? I could turn to steam. Well, get it out.
I guess because you eventually just kind of drift away.
Make me uncomfortable like a sauna. Get it out. Anyway, I can go on that forever. So, moving on. Now, this was a great one. The brutal one. You know the one. Brutal Barracuda. Keep it in tune with the gimmick.
The cartoon gimmick.
40 Amiga games that were also cartoons. Now, that's a lot.
It's a lot of games.
Now, did he miss any? I don't know. But he covered a lot of these. And
I would like to play some of these. I was watching this the other day, and I'm kind of a sucker for crap. And and a lot of these, like this game, the Smurf game.
This is not up your alley.
This is probably
of all the games for you to start on. You pick this one.
To be honest with you, I stopped watching it right before this, and it instantly sort of
remember
scared
this game because you're a ninja killing Smurfs or whatever you are. I guess you're.
But that Hagar the Horrible game, like, first of all, who's not a Hagar the Horrible fan?
Me.
What?
How long has it been since Hagar the Horrible? We talked about him.
I don't think we've ever discussed him on this podcast.
Exactly. He's just a generic, weird character. I know she went back to the Smurfs.
Well, I wanted to get back to Hagar. Look at this now. This
Hong Kong Phooey.
This is the heck.
Remember the song?
Oh, I can sing the song.
Hong Kong Phooey, #1 super guy.
Right.
I think Scatman Crothers was the voice of Hong Kong Phooey.
What else is he known for?
He was in The Shining. He was.
Scatman Crothers?
Yeah.
Are you positive that he was in The Shining?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's super famous. He's been in tons of films. Or you don't know who he is, do you?
No. I just have a hard time believing that anyone named Scatman Crothers would appear in a Stephen King film.
He did that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, like the Scatman.
No, that guy's a cheap imitation of Scatman Crothers.
I don't believe it. If anybody's ripping off anybody, it's the other way around.
You're a big jazz guy. I thought you knew who Scatman Crothers was. No. You need to turn in your jazz.
Turn in the jazz
phony
card.
baloney metal. You really hose that thing up. So let's keep a move on here. I'm gonna skip past this. So. Okay. Oh, by the way, I wanted to mention in that 40 greatest cartoons, a lot of Hanna-Barbera crapiola in there. Hanna-Barbera, the licensing machine for the Amiga, and they never stopped.
That's how they fund all of their new animations.
Okay, here's another one. Speaking of cartoons, now this one I've never heard of. I think this is a British TV property. You ever heard of a show called Round the Bend?
No.
Round the Bend. It looks like it stars. Let me look here. It looks like an alligator and a rat and a weasel. I don't know what the hell that is. Maybe it's a mole or something. I don't know. I've never heard of this. I looked over this, and I just had no basis for any idea what was happening.
Yeah.
The Dreamcatcher, and I don't know how obscure this is either.
You know, this.
But
it just goes to show that we think we know about British TV, but we don't know anything about British
I don't
TV.
think that. But one thing he goes into here is how they took this Round the Bend game, and they were like, all right, screw that. And they just basically changed a couple things and released it as a game. So here it is, same game. It's back again. Okay, now you stop me if we've heard from these before.
Okay.
So another Dreamcatcher joint. And I don't know if we talked about this. It's actually we may have talked about it. It's Baby Joe is Going Home, the baby platformer. Now he's released the script for this. It's up on the G Plus page, but I don't know if we talked about the video or not. Did you watch?
I don't think we covered this. I think this came out right before.
Have you read this yet?
No.
That's high weirdness right there. It's a baby platformer.
It looks kind of like the guy from Roger Rabbit.
What was
Wasn't his name Baby Ralph?
Baby
or
Herman
like
or something
Baby
like
Herman, that's what it was.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
We have not talked about Dreamcatcher's interview with Andrew Morris.
Oh, now this. I'm glad you brought that up. This is tremendous. He goes into questions about what in God's name happened on Kid Chaos, which is we're going to bring him up later, but that's been a continual puzzlement to us, is this guy's bizarre backstory. Mm-hmm. So it turns out, I'd heard some of this before, but it turns out up till very close to the release, that was going to be a cat.
Right.
And so, but they decided to change it, and the publisher was like, nah, we don't want a cat. We want something else.
We want a big, dumb-looking caveman teenager.
Did you catch the name of the cat?
Cosmic Kitten?
Cosmic Kitten. Now,
I think probably Kitten, you don't want to go with that because that's too wimpy. But Cosmic Cat, there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, let's face facts here. And no offense to anyone, but that don't sound like a winning formula either to me.
Cosmic Cat?
Cosmic Kitten.
Well, Cosmic Kitten, no.
But they didn't say Cosmic Cat, did they? They said Cosmic Kitten.
They should have ran it by us.
Well, oh yeah, that would have really worked. But this is a heck of an interview. Think about it, man. What a get, and this is really good. It's been a while since I read it, but I remember I really liked it.
Yeah.
So, you get some scoop on magnetic fields, and it was very interesting read. So if you haven't read this yet, for God's sakes, go pick this one up. I got to make sure I get this on the Google Plus page because it's really, really a heck of an interview. and it solves some of those questions that you may have had about Kid Chaos, the weird caveman,
and again,
doo-wop killer.
If you're listening, if you're a listener of this podcast and you never go to our site, everythingamiga.com is where you can find all of these articles, plus links to all of our videos and all of the interviews. It's a real treasure trove of Amiga goodness.
It's a treasure trove, all right. So let's get into a little site stuff that I can't remember. I don't think you have put anything up here recently, have you? Is there anything I missed?
I don't think so.
So we had Brutal Barracuda has put up a couple mail bags in our absence. If you would like to go back and watch us get mail, we like it. So yeah, feel free to check those out. We did several Insert Disc 2. I don't know if we've pushed them or not. Including the we did one where we talked about what would happen if the Amiga had never died, and I mean, and when I say we talked about it, I mean we touched on a bunch of stuff, and that had to be one of those. And then what did we talk about last
week?
Time?
We talked about multitasking.
That's right, multitasking. So that was another interesting bit there. We have 2 new.
ARG Presents.
ARG Presents have came out in the past. I had my brain just sort of short-circuited there for a minute. I think it's the AL81. I think it's kicking in. We did one on the Beeb, and by the way, and I mentioned this in the last episode of ARG, but the guy, remember that I don't know if you heard. Did you listen to the last ARG? You can lie and say you did. The guy that actually programmed that Phoenix knockoff was responded that he had done some other games. And he did the Frogger knockoff as well on the Beep. So he was a Beep programmer. And then one of the guys that actually runs that site we were playing the games off of.
He also commented.
Commented on so that got some interesting. Who knew?
Right.
They were probably baffled that 2 goofballs from West Virginia are playing BBC micro games. And I ended up watching the BBC micro film, which we talked about. So I'll talk about that in Insert Disc 2. But I was beebing it up for a weekend there. And then, and we should probably talk about this, as we've never really formally addressed it, but last week, me and Brent, the Brentster, the round mound, the sound, we talked about the Atari Jaguar. And I pronounced it Jaguar the entire episode. I went back and listened to it, and I was appalled at my own.
Why? That's how we pronounce it here
Well, it's not the way it's supposed to be pronounced. And you know someone's going, oh, those bloody Americans, they cannot pronounce Jaguar. And pronounce it Jaguar. And we
Jaguar.
We do.
That's what it is. The Jacksonville Jaguars.
The Jacksonville Jaguars. That's what we call them. There's a W in there. That's what we say. But we played Pinball Fantasy Island. Remember him, Mr. Rourke?
I've never seen Fantasy Island.
You've never seen Fantasy Island?
No.
You know who his little buddy was? Tattoo?
Yeah, Hervé
Villechaize. Yeah. You need to watch some of those. At one point, Mr. Rourke fights the devil.
Oh, that sounds great.
Enough said.
Is that the same as Love Boat?
Came on directly after the Love Boat.
Are they tied together producer. In any way?
The Love Boat did dock at Fantasy Island occasionally, yes. That's the truth, so there you go. Anyway, and Brent looked at Bubsy. This game, boy, not good. Another in a long line of garbage platformers that we have looked at. So why don't you tell everyone in a formal statement what's going on with ARG Presents, since some of the people here, I'm sure, listen to ARG Presents, so why don't you give them the scoop?
All right, so let it be known that Aaron has fired me from my own show, Steve Jobs style.
That Lethal Weapon episode pushed me over the edge, and you had to go.
We've decided that that 3 shows a week for Mr. Boat is 1 show too many. I was becoming very stretched with the amount of time that I was putting into this stuff, and the show was becoming more of a job than something fun. And I always told Aaron, whenever that happens, we got to change something. So I've stepped away from ARG, and I'll be back. I might do some guest appearances if Aaron will have me over.
Is it a threat or a promise?
Amigos Studios East, where it's filmed.
If you could take Brent down, you're in. Battle to the death.
But like I said, I love Amigos is my first love. I'll never leave it. As long as there's a podcast, there will be Amigos. But ARG, even though I sort of spearheaded the whole ARG concept,
fully created it, placed it out.
Yeah, it was just like I said, guys. I want to be able to to concentrate my full efforts on what I do for Amigos, and then have some time left over to play stuff. You know, not necessarily sit down and say, well, I've got to do this for the show because the show is this week. And so, but I'm glad that ARG is continuing. I did watch it. I didn't just pretend to watch it. I truly watched it. And you guys are doing a great job.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait when you get some of the other guests on there, when Will Cox is on there. And there's so many people that we know that are so colorful. That's the best adjective I know to describe them.
Yeah.
Maybe Chad will even wear his Indiana Jones costume on the show.
It was requested. Well, me and Brent we're going to go ahead and listen. Boat's right. He was spread thin. But given my low, I set my sights low, as you know, real low. And so this allows me to splinter myself into several hundred shards and just spread them across project after project.
It's spreading the dowdy love.
Each one of them half-assier than the next. Right? That's sort of my motto. And so with that in mind, I thought to myself, hey, who do I know that fits the Aaron frame of mind? Well, why would you bring in Brent? And Brent hopped in, so we're going to be running the show. We are going to occasionally have another person come on and join us in the arcade. We'll be shooting, I guess we're going to permanently shoot ARG over in Amigos Studios East. Hopefully with some better, we're working on it, but it looked okay, but it wasn't the best. But we're going to keep the ball rolling.
Why don't you give a little teaser for what you're going to be talking about this week? Well,
this week I had to bargain with Brent because you don't just come and take over Boat Spot on ARG. It has to be, I had to beg to get someone to take that seat. No one wants it because I'm on the other side of it. So Brent said, listen, I came in, I played this god-awful game that Boat picked for me off the wheel. So I get to pick whatever I want this next go-around. And so I relented, of course, because I fold like Superman on laundry day.
You know, I use that all the time.
Oh, yeah?
The first time you told me that.
So Brent chose this week. We did not spin the wheel or make the deal. He chose to play games from the Famicom floppy disk collection, which I've played practically nothing.
Well, you've played more than you think, because a lot of those games came out in cartridge form on the NES.
Well, I understand. So, so we're going to play a couple games off that, and then I think we're going to reintroduce the wheel and give that a whirl. Get it?
Yeah.
And see how that goes. But we're still finding our footing.
And those shows are not going to be live streamed, correct?
No, I don't have the capacity to do that yet. Possibly in the future, but our taping, the way we're filming these is going to be weird because Brent's schedule is a lot like Boat's. I've got apparently nothing going on. I can just schedule another show. I'm going to do a show on beekeeping one week, and agree with everything. So, but yeah, that's what's going on. The Amigos are solid. We're not going anywhere.
That's right.
But and Boat will still be around. I can't get rid of him. But
I'm Ozymandias.
For the foreseeable future, it's a Brent and Aaron joint. There you go.
Aaron, it's time. We talked about the news. We talked about the feedback.
No, I'm not done. I got more to talk about.
Talk away, man.
Because, today's game. All right, tell them what today's game is.
So today's game is UGG.
UGG, all right? And so me and Boat got to talking UGG a couple days ago or a couple weeks ago. I can't remember what we talked about, but we were talking about, hey, there was a lot of games that were like based on caveman prehistory. Mm-hmm. So I went out and wrote down as many as I could find on the Amiga. And I thought we'd just go through a few just for fun.
Okay.
And discuss them and see which ones you've heard of, right? So these are the ones I found. Now, first of all, we know that no list like this is complete. There's going to be some obscure thing or something not obscure that I'm just an idiot on, okay? But I thought I'd write some of these down. So the ones I found, and some of these we've played, there's a game called Big Nose the Caveman. Have you heard of that one?
Yes.
You have?
Received a console release.
Really?
Yep. I believe that it was a Aladdin.
That weird.
Yeah, the weird thing.
The weird system on the NES.
And I think that it had a sequel called Big Nose Freaks Out.
You've got to be joking.
I'm not joking.
We need to play those. Big Nose Freaks Out?
Uh-huh.
What was Big Nose up to?
Let's listen to a lot of Zappa. There it is.
You're right. I'll be darned. There it is. So Big Nose the Kid. Now, you've not played Big Nose, I'm guessing.
No. Okay. I've never played it.
Another game, in the caveman genre. You ever heard of this one? I know you have. BC Kid.
Yes.
All right, we played BC Kid, and very popular. Or would you say this is? Well, we'll wait, but that's probably the best caveman game that out of most of them. Anyway.
Between that and Big Nose, I think BC Kid has the edge.
So the next one in line, Kid Chaos. That's
Right.
why I threw him in there, despite the fact he's not looking like a cave. He looks like a caveman.
He represents a
Letterman's
race
jacket.
of cavemans. That's
It's just like he's like Zool.
Right.
He's not a caveman, but he represents a race of cavemen. So then you've got Cave Mania.
that I don't know about.
Cave Mania 3. See The
So
Rock
it's a
take on Stone Cold.
You know, I'm surprised there's never been a caveman wrestler.
There should be one. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think if I remember anyone doing a caveman gimmick. Or I thought, man, I'm sure in the 50s.
Because I mean, like, it's perfect
now
for.
there was a guy called the Missing Link. How about that?
That's pretty caveman.
Yeah. So, Cave Mania. I've not played that one. Now you got Chuck Rock and Chuck Rock, son of Chuck. Now we have had a cup of coffee with these. We never reviewed them or took a look at them. I've played them a bunch of times. Have you played Chuck Rock?
I don't
Great
think
music.
so. Are those platformers?
Yeah, and at the beginning of Chuck Rock, there's like a caveman band that plays.
Oh, that's pretty neat.
And they're pictured up there. It's really cool.
Is it like the Rockefeller explosion?
Rockefeller Explosion would be a whole different band. Then you've got Joe and Mac, Caveman Ninja. Now that's an arcade port, and that came over to the Amiga.
Well, there are lots of Joe and Mac games.
Well, on the Amiga, there's just one.
And
Have you-
Caveman Ninja, I can't comment on it. I mean, can you be a
have you
caveman?
not played this one?
No, I mean I played Joe and Mac, but I played on the Super Nintendo. I've never played Caveman Ninja.
Yeah, you can be a Caveman Ninja, I guess. Depends.
Hey.
I guess if cavemen are in Japan.
That's true. They would have had to have been.
So then you got a game called Prehistoric with a K.
That's yeah.
No, nothing on that one. I haven't played that one either. Now, what list would be complete without the Flintstones?
Right. Now, I have played many Flintstones games. In fact, I played one to completion on a stream not long ago.
This one looks like some sort of adventure game. It doesn't. It's not like an action game.
Like a point and click, like a.
I don't know. It looked real strange.
Really?
Yeah, it was a weird one. Now,
Well, let me tell you. The one of the first CDs I ever bought was the Flintstones soundtrack from the movie. Do you remember the movie with John Goodman as Fred?
Yeah, I didn't go see that. I was appalled at that.
And there, of course, it was all the B-52s did most of them. They were the BC-52s.
Yeah.
And Green Jelly. Do you remember that band, Green Jelly?
Yeah,
They
were
did-
Green Jello, and they changed their
right.
name.
And they did a cover of Anarchy in the UK, but they called it Anarchy in Bedrock.
Man.
And finally,
Everything about this
to
is
complete
horrible.
it, the Crash Test Dummies did a song called "In the Days of the Caveman." So I'll just let you think about what that might sound like.
As an added, I'll just throw this in. The Flintstones movie got a pinball machine, all right? And the back glass on, this is classic like 90s baloney, right? That back
That was a
glass,
Data East, probably.
the back glass on it has like the people from the film. So
Right.
you've got John Goodman, Rosie O'Donnell, all these goofballs. Well, guess what? Nobody wants that at home in 2000XX. Nobody. You look up, like another movie tie-in movie, like there was The Phantom, had a pinball machine. And that had, what's his dude in it? Baldwin, right? He played, so the back glass is just a big picture of Baldwin going like,
Right.
Nobody wants that.
Johnny Mnemonic's like that, too.
So what they've done is they've retrofitted these with better, less annoying pictures.
A wise decision.
You know, so, and that was one. And now, unfortunately, you can't change the sound samples. So you're going to...
Although they're working on it, I'm sure.
So anyway, the Flintstones. That's one you might want to put on your wacky list there. Here's another one I had to throw in here. Now, this one is slightly controversial, but there's cavemen in it, so I put it in here. One of my personal favorites, Primal Rage.
Yeah.
Primal Rage, the dinosaur
you
fighting
eat
game.
the cavemen, right?
You can also whack them with your, you can kick them and whatnot. Now, but they're back in the background worshiping you and stuff. It's pretty cool. And they actually get involved in a game where you play. I think you could pick one of the village up and play Pong with them.
Really?
Yeah, if you get to a certain, there's a hidden thing. Now, this is a very controversial one, but I stuck it in here, and I'll let you be the judge. Toki. Do you remember Toki?
Yeah, we did an episode on that.
Right. That's sort of caveman-y. He's more a jungle man.
Where do you draw? There's such a thin line between caveman and
yeah,
Jumpman.
that was, I was like, eh. And then, now I had to include a couple. Now, these were not released on Amiga. I just picked a couple that I really liked, so I mentioned them here. One of them was BC's Quest for Tires. I can't believe this didn't come out in the Amiga.
I'm surprised by that, too.
It was out on the Atari 8-bits, the Apple II, Coleco, C64, DOS. Everyone got one, ZX, but not us. And then the sequel to that, which I had played, it was really good, too. I don't know if you ever played it, BC Quest for Tires 2, Grog's Revenge. Another game that got a C64 release. I don't know why we weren't getting any of this action. I mean, they're older games, but you could have, come on, give it to us.
Was BC still relevant in the early 90s?
No. But I mean, 85, yeah, you could probably put them on there. And last one, we talked about this one quite a bit the other day, the Caveman Ugg Olympics, or what was it on the NES?
Just Caveman games.
Caveman they did change the name. I looked up, same game. This was another C64 title, and also was out on the PC and the NES.
So
great game.
I have a story behind this.
All right, yeah.
Okay. So probably my 12th or 13th birthday. We were staying with my uncle's cabin in Hinton. You been to Hinton before?
I've been to Hinton. They got a lake up there.
Yeah. So this is in the middle of nowhere. They don't have TV. Of course, I was never allowed to bring like a video game system on these trips. They did have TV. They didn't have cable. I watched a lot of Star Trek reruns they had on VHS. Anyway,
tremendous.
My birthday comes. And I'm like, oh man, I bet mom and dad, they haven't told me, but they brought like a bunch of presents and a cake and all this, and they're just waiting to spring it on me because they know my birthday is during our vacation and they wouldn't just leave me hanging. So my birthday comes and they're like, happy birthday. And I was like, where's all the stuff? And they're like, we'll take you to Kmart and you can pick out a Nintendo game. And I was just like, it's the worst birthday ever because like grandma and grandpa aren't here. Like they always get me presents and stuff. I was upset.
You were getting jobbed out.
I was. So we went to Kmart and I still remember this clear as day. They had the big wall of NES games you could choose from. And I was like, man, I've played Ninja Turtles before, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and this is a good game. I really want to get Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But then as soon as I was reaching up to grab it, I saw it. Caveman games. And the box is dumb. I mean, it's real dumb looking. It's like the tiers where you stand on when you get your trophy, and it's like somebody whacking somebody. And I don't know why I thought that was cool.
It is cool. I disagree with you.
But for whatever reason, I was like, I'll take Caveman games. So,
no, wait, was this the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the original NES
This is the original NES.
You made the right call.
Well, at any rate, so I've got Caveman games, right? And we're on our way back to the cabin, and I'm just thinking it's going to be another week before I can fire this up. And so I memorized that manual, every word in it. This is the big disappointment about Caveman games. It's one of those games that's a button masher. It's your normal track and field game, but this game is so crazy difficult on the NES that you have to have a turbo controller to do some of the events. They're just some you can't physically push the button unless you're some sort of like super freak like your brother that has amazing button pushing powers.
Yeah, he is amazing.
It was really disappointing. I was disappointed by the game because I didn't feel like I should have chosen Ninja Turtles. That's it. No, that's the story.
That's a sad tale.
It is. It's really one of the things that sticks out most about my youth. I don't know what that says.
You were a pampered kid. That tells me.
That was the worst thing that ever happened to me.
So I liked Caveman Olympics. That's a great event where you take your mate and throw her by the hair.
You do. It's
hilarious.
It's just like a discus event where you're spinning her around and you let her go.
I don't think we'll be seeing that one in a re-release anytime soon.
No.
It's funny. This is completely off topic. But I was watching a video today of Fernando Valenzuela throwing his no-hit game. This is a baseball player in America. And I love Fernando. I don't know if you remember Fernando.
Oh, yeah.
And Vin Scully's doing the call. Mm-hmm. And he said the date, he goes, this will be a great day for Fernando's kids if he could pull this off. And he throws the ball to double play. He goes, he's done it. He's thrown a no-hitter. He's like, all you people sitting around the house, if you've got a sombrero around, throw it in the air. And I thought to myself, they would come down on Vin Scully for saying that.
He would have been gone. fired.
And people don't realize that Fernando was a huge Latino man. It was a non-Latino star. He was a huge deal.
Oh yeah.
You
People
know,
loved him.
I loved him back
He
in
was
the day,
just
but
barely below the might and the power that was Chris Sabo.
Oh God, I watched Chris Sabo the other day. We'll talk about that later. Here we go. So, with all that in mind, we're really going off on tangents left and right. So, we're going to get into it here. This is UGG. Now, first of all, let's just talk about the name of the game. UGH exclamation point. All
Not
right?
exactly something that makes you want to rush out and purchase it.
I'll tell you one thing, brother. If you want to try to do research on the game, wrong name.
Turns out there's a lot of things that have UGG in it.
Yeah, a lot. And so this was not the easy, and there wasn't a whole lot to find, but it was not the easiest thing I've ever done research on. So this game came out in 1992, one big disc, and it was developed by an outfit called Ego Software. Let's get into Ego just for a minute, just because I found this an unusual outfit, if I can manage to turn the page here. So Ego was they're still around. They're called EgoSoft GmbH. I don't know what that means.
We don't know what the GmbH means.
I know. I don't know. But they're a German video game developer based in Würselen, Germany, which I've never heard of. It was a U with a 2 gimmick over it.
Yeah,
help me out
that's
there.
always trouble.
So they were founded in '88, and their claim to fame is that they are known for the series of games called the X series.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now
That's interesting because I just spent last weekend talking in depth with my cousin, who's also a YouTuber, and he was telling me that I need to try these X games out. What a coincidence!
Yeah. Well, there you go. So, but that was a long time after the Amiga.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I looked at what they did on the Amiga, and this was wacky. And I wanted to go over this with you. So in '89, they did a game called Hotel Detective.
She was a hotel detective. You know that song?
I don't think that exists. And then they did a game called Fatal Heritage. But then they started doing some wacky stuff. So they did a game called R1, R2. And it was a promotional game for something called Reemsma, which I don't know what that is.
Do we know what that is?
But no, I don't. But here's where it gets more interesting. So '91. So anyway, that was a promotional game. So in '91, they did a game called Aquarius Game. It was a promotional game for Aquarius.
You mean the Mattel Aquarius?
No, I don't know what it's some kind of brand name. Maybe it's German. So the same year, they did a game called Pepsi all over the world. Promotional game for Pepsi. These are on the Amiga.
Really?
Promotional games, yeah. So it's not over. This is the best one. So in '92, they did a game called the Light American Space Game. Promotional game for Philip Morris International.
Oh my gosh, the cigarette folks.
Yes.
Wow.
That same year, they did another game called Come Together Around the World. Promotional game for Peter Stuyvesant.
Stuyvesant, yeah.
You want to help me out there?
Yeah. I've seen that name before, but I don't know where.
So that's the game they did right before UGG. And then they weren't done yet. In '93, they did a game called Elephanton. And there was a promotional game for the World Wildlife Fund for Nature. So they did one, and then the last one they did for the Amiga, the Ketchup Connection, promotional game for Kraft Ketchup.
Wow!
And so they did a bunch of promotional games.
You know,
for the Amiga.
it's amazing. We've been doing this show. This is our 150th episode this week. No, it's not. It's our 149th. I apologize. But we've
you just dropped the milestone. This is the 100th. Oh wait, no, it's not. It's nothing.
I've never come across any of these promotional games or any promotional games for the
Well,
Amiga.
that's not true. We did that one where there was.
Oh yeah, I guess we've done a million of them.
Yeah,
There's like
we did.
James Pond and
also the one with the puzzle game that had that
the curly quavers.
Awful,
yeah.
So
GmbH, it means, you know how they put LLC at the end of things here?
Yeah.
It's the same thing,
Okay.
limited liability. Thank you, Duncan, in the chat.
You know, I just looked over at the chat, and it said Henrik has mentioned EGA. Mm-hmm. What a film this is.
Have you heard of this before?
I've seen EGA many times.
Is it better or worse than the one that Ringo was the caveman in?
Much worse. The one Ringo was in was called Caveman. It was great because they invent music, and that scene alone was great. But EGOT stars the same fellow that played Jaws in the Bond movies.
And I'm going to say the same guy that played Jaws.
No. And it's about a caveman that lives out in the deserts in California, and he's a surf boy, and their girlfriend stumbles.
So it's like Encino Man.
No. This caveman is old school, big, lumbering, creepy guy. And there's a scene in it where the caveman has captured a girl, a hot girl, and her dad. The dad's impaired. He can't do anything. He's hurt. And so he's telling the girl just to play along with the caveman. So the caveman, what the caveman wants to do is not savory stuff.
No.
But that dad's encouraging the daughter. It's like, yeah, go ahead, spread that on his skin. It's cool. Go ahead. Yeah, help you to work on his hair. It was the most stupid, ludicrous thing you've ever seen. So if you haven't seen EGOT, and I'd recommend the Mystery Science Theater version, which is the one to see. Also, for some reason, at one point they're driving along this road, and just off camera, a character you don't ever see or know about goes, "Watch out for snakes." So that's something else I remember about it. Okay, so anyway, Ugh. So again, this came out in '92, one disc, and it was published by an outfit called the publisher on this is kind of weird. In fact, a lot of this is weird. I looked up the developer, Ego Software. They must have been part of Blue Byte to a certain degree.
Which we just talked about on Settlers.
That's right. Because on some of the previews and reviews I saw in magazines, Blue Byte was listed as developing this in-house. I don't know why. I don't know if it was a screw up. I don't know what was going on. But Blue Byte of last week's game. So Settlers, was that what it was? Settlers, yeah. Now this has 2 players max, and you can have 2 players simultaneously. I didn't get to do this, and I was upset, but I did get to play. I did get to watch people having 2 players. It looked like a lot of fun, and we should absolutely try this sometime. Maybe on the Amigathon we should try it out. This ran on the original chipset, no problem. And this was an Amiga game originally, but it got ported to the C64 and to DOS as well. So not too bad. And this released with a price point of 25p, 99 or 25 pounds, 99p. So whatever that is in U.S. money
American
at the time.
money.
Yeah. So I think, is that the normal price for a game? I think
that seems pretty. Yeah, I think that's around that area.
So the story behind this game, and the back of this box, I will say, is amusing. For one thing, it's got a little logo for the Caveman Cabbie Association in the corner. And then on the upper right, it says the 5 Bones Award, Caveman Computing. So they've given themselves an award.
I love it when they do that.
I like the Caveman Computing. That could be a magazine we can see in the future. So basically, the story of this, and I'm just going to read this verbatim because it's so stupid. Our hero is flying around on his board-powered taxi, which is really a crank, a design years ahead of its time. Your task is to help out prehistoric cabbie get his woman. Let me say it again. Your task is to help our prehistoric cabbie get his woman. She is very demanding and very possessive, as most cave babes are. Probably wouldn't fly again, Curly. And she always wants something new. Washing machines, vacuum cleaners, and gems.
Wow.
You know, all those little household items that were so handy back in the Stone Age. The only way our hero could give her those things is to work like a nutter caveman cabbie.
What does that mean, a nutter caveman cabbie?
Have the chat explain that to you. So that's a cute way of saying you're a cabbie.
Right.
So this game opens with this great sequence when you start the game of a caveman, a little caveman. He's sleeping under a tree, and an apple falls on him, and he has a revelation. And his revelation is to build this flying box and become a caveman cabbie. And that's what he does. And that's where the game begins, with level 1, and you're the cabbie in the caveman times. So do you want? I know you played this extensively. What would your take on the premise and the makeup of the way the levels are structured, the graphics? What did you think about this stuff?
So I thought that the story was. I mean, it's cute. It's fine.
It's not particularly original, but it was amusingly done.
Yeah, and just like so many Amiga games, that they spent time with the intro sequence. Unlike a lot of Amiga games, this one actually has good gameplay after the intro sequence. This game, I thought that the setting was very original. I think that your what is the name of that craft called? What, did they name it?
I don't think it had a name.
Oh, okay. Your
flying box.
Your flying box.
For those who haven't seen the game, picture a box with a little caveman in it with a crank. Crank it sitting on a seat, and on top of it are 2 like palm leaves, big ones that like spin around like a helicopter.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. So I think, but I think we don't want to talk about what I think about the game yet, but as far as the production of the intro and my initial look at the game, I was impressed.
So the premise of the game, and really this never changes. The gameplay doesn't change that much. And luckily, this game has a level code system, which we love. So I was able to skip through the levels at my leisure, which I needed the help because I couldn't get more than say 6 levels in. You are a caveman, and you start on a map on a screen. It's a single screen game. You're on a platform, and there are caves scattered throughout the level, usually 3 or 4, and each cave has a sign beside it with a little number early on, and a cave person will come out, and you will drive your caveman car up there. You'll land. You'll pick the person up, and they'll say a Roman numeral. They'll say 3, 2, 1, 4, and whichever cave that has that sign in front of it, you just fly over, drop them off. That's it. It's a simple sounding premise. Now it gets more complicated in that the flying machine drives in an interesting way. It's I guess sort of like a helicopter. You push up, and the longer you keep your joystick up, the faster it goes up. You can actually pull down and come down real quick. Yeah, and it really controls pretty well.
Yeah.
But it's difficult enough to make flying interesting. And a lot of the reason it's so tough is because you have a limited amount of real estate on the screen. You can't just go up forever. I mean, the screen doesn't scroll. So once you hit the roof, you've hit the roof. You'll learn early on that if you land too quickly, you will die. If you wing across the screen out of control, you'll die. You'll hit stuff and die. You can also accidentally land on the people that you're trying to pick up. And then you've got real problems because at the bottom of the screen and this varies on different screens, but the bottom of the screen most of the time is some water. And so when you knock these people off, depending on who you knock off, they will fall off the top ledge, the bottom ledge, whichever one they're on, they'll fall into the water, and you have to go rescue them. There are a caveman, cavewoman, but there's an old guy. And most of the time, if you knock them in the water, they'll swim around for a while. You can get down and pick them up. If the old guy,
he sinks like a stone.
He drops like a rock.
Yeah.
And one thing they don't tell you in the docks, they don't tell you anywhere, and you just have to learn it yourself. It's like when you lose a guy, you're done. You're done. You have to start the level over. They don't just keep going until you run out of energy. You just hit escape and start again. That right there is strike one.
Yeah.
I hated
That's
that.
the worst part of the game for me.
I hated the fact that if you lose one guy,
it would be like playing Crazy Taxi, and if you mess up one time, you'd have to start over.
I mean, and especially on like the first level, it's brutal. I mean, at any level, it's brutal. But when you're almost through the level and you accidentally land on somebody or you can't rescue them out of the water, and when that old guy goes down, you're right. I mean, he's gone. This guy, I don't know what he's been eating.
Well, he's an old guy.
He still can float. Good grief. So their levels change as you go on. Usually what they'll do is have more intricate paths to get people out. Sometimes you'll have to take your little flying machine and basically skim across the water on it. I mean, it can float. So you can go sideways on the water, and a lot of times you'll have to go through caves and water caves to pick people up. On some levels, the water will rise, always annoying. And you have to pick people up on a lower level before the water gets them. That happens early on, and you're like, the first time it happens, you're like, what's going on? And this was real creepy and wrong. The first time they had the water rising level, at the very bottom of the screen, a guy wants a taxi, and it's an old guy. So you've got to hurry. A second the screen starts, you got to hurry your ship down there to pick this old guy up, because once the water comes up past where he can get into your flying machine, he just dies.
Yeah.
And then the level's over, and you're like, what the heck just happened?
Right.
Too soon. Now, you've got some, aside from just flying around picking people up, you've got another thing you need to keep track of, which is your energy. Because pedaling this box around is exhausting, as you can imagine. I mean, I about fell apart today mowing the lawn, so I can imagine what this is like. So, you've got fruits. There's usually a tree on that level and a rock. And what you have to do when you need to replenish your energy is to get fruit. To get fruit, you have to take your rock, toss it out of your box, and it'll hit a tree and knock something out, and you can go eat it. The fruits are apples, lemons, oranges, bananas, cherries, pears, and strawberries.
Now, I actually did not know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that the button, I guess I never tried to push the button in the game.
How far did you get if you didn't know that?
I made it pretty far. I'm just that good.
I can't believe it. So when the rock hits the tree, the fruit falls out. You go pick it up and you replenish your energy. And you can get a couple for 2 or 3 fruit if you have to. But here's the thing, and this is something else that plagued me. If you're carrying that rock, you can land right beside a passenger and they'll just stand there. They're not getting in. You have to dump that rock.
It's threatening to them.
No, it's no room. There's no room in the box. And so a lot of times if you don't pay attention, you'll be waiting for the sucker to get in. You're like, come on, come on, come on. And it's because you got that rock in there. You got to get the rock out. Now, if that was all the game had, pretty simple. So they got to add some critters.
Right.
Although not as many as you would expect. So. No. They've got opponents in here.
Because there's almost 70 levels in this game.
There's 69 levels, that's right. So the first thing you come across is the pterodactyl. This is very similar.
How do you say that?
Pterodactyl? How do you say it? I'm reading it just like they've got it spelled.
The P's silent, Aaron. You never learned that in school, pterodactyl?
I know what a pterodactyl is, but I don't.
That's what that is.
Listen, they call this guy the Trioporus. That's a fake name too. I didn't know it was a real name or not.
That's how you spell it. That's
Doesn't
pterodactyl.
Doesn't matter. Hey, you know what the fruit? You're giving me business about the P.
I got to get back at you somehow for not knowing about the fruit.
If you've seen the guy, also I get him confused on where the heck that is in Joust. That's what he reminds me of. The guy. You remember if you ever played Joust?
Yeah, I think isn't he like a condor or something?
He's got a name.
Yeah.
It's pterodactyl. That's what it is. I don't know. I made that up. I don't know what it's called. But anyway, in Joust, the thing comes across the screen and tries to eat you. And this pterodactyl comes across and just gets in your way, basically. So
maybe he's Russian. Pterodactyl.
It almost always happens when you're landing to pick up a passenger. Here he comes.
Yeah.
Right in your way.
And he's big, too. I mean, he's massive.
Now, the good news is, if he gets irritating enough, you can drop the rock on him, and he'll go away for a while. But he'll come back. So he's annoying. Then the second guy you're going to come across is the dinosaur. The dinosaur doesn't really attack you. He's just sleeping. But his snoring like screws up your machine. It basically blows you across the thing. It's a real pain in the butt. Mm-hmm. And then the last guy is a guy, and they've got 2 names for him, so your mileage may vary. I've got Trioporus, and then I've also got Triops. But basically, he's a dinosaur, a horned dinosaur that he just stands around, right? If you're past, you're standing beside him, he doesn't care. But when that machine comes down, he gets pissed off, and he tries to run you over. That's basically what happens. So you've got to get out of the way, or he'll screw you up. And so those guys are scattered throughout the levels. The one thing you have to do often with the Trioporus, which I don't know why they didn't just call him a Triceratops, but that's what they've got, Trioporus.
Maybe that's the German name for it.
It could be, man. It's probably the guy who wrote these docs just misspelled it all that. But you have to hit him with the rock, stun him, pick the passenger up, take off before he wakes up.
It gets real complicated and intricate. Not really complicated, but you have to be very adept at the maneuvers.
Yeah. Now, again, we mentioned there were 69 levels, and the levels are again, I played about the first. I cheated my way through the first 20 levels, and I skipped around. Mm-hmm. Okay, there are some things that get added later on, like levels. There'll be levels that their sign is blank, and so someone will request to go to one of the blank levels where you can end up going to the wrong one. There's some levels where the pattern you take to get places is real important. There's some levels that you have to go like basically almost underwater. If you go quick enough, you can kind of sink your ship and go under ledges and stuff. But one thing this game doesn't do very well is mix it up. We've played several games with this sort of, not this exact kind of gameplay, but a game where what was that game we played where you had to go around and rescue those people? It was multiple screens and they were real tiny.
The Merry Men.
Yeah. What was that? Do you remember the name of that game? I can't remember off the top of my head. But
it was the game with the Merry Men.
Yeah, but that game was far more...
Chat, if you can recall.
It was far more... there was a lot more variables and stuff going on.
I agree. I think there's a lot of similarities.
It does, because the characters are tiny. This is a much easier game. All right, and it's not
it's
easy.
much more accessible. I mean, you can jump right in and know what you're supposed to do immediately.
That game had a lot more gameplay going forward. And as I looked at the reviews for this, I saw this come up more than once. So I felt about the same way.
Benefactor.
Thanks,
you. Duncan.
This game has a lot of similarities because you're rescuing people. In Benefactor, and in this you're moving them. It's basically the same thing. I like the plot of this. I'm always a sucker for these like taxi cab type games. I like the music. I like the graphics. I liked most of everything about it. But I have to admit that after playing it for a while, it just kind of got boring to me. And even with cheating to skip levels that I'd already played over and over, I don't know how much it was fun for a quick throwdown, but I don't know how much I want to go back to it. Now that said, 2 players looks like a lot of fun, where you're sort of helping each other pick up all the passengers. There's even a few 2-player only levels that you can go to. I like the idea it's got simultaneous play. I think you could have expanded on this concept quite a bit. You could have even gotten some joust type action in with 2 players, if you ask me, or had a way to, just change the backgrounds. They get kind of stale. You know what I'm saying? The caves over and over again. I like to have seen something else after a while. What did you think?
Yeah, all of your complaints are sound and valid, which is an odd thing for me to say.
Finally success.
I think that this game, when I first started playing it, I was like, man, this is going to be one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, you sent me a text message like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then 15 minutes later, I had the exact same revelation that you did, where it's like literally the whole game is doing the exact same thing in the exact same environment, just with something more stuff in your way. They make a big deal about your lady at the beginning of this game. Your lady might as well just be another guy. Like, she doesn't do anything different than the rest of the people. She's just another passenger to pick up.
I wasn't even sure that was his lady. I just thought it was a lady.
Well, it says introducing Bird in the cutscene before the second level, so I assume that that's her name. It would have been nice if they would have integrated, her more into the story. Maybe make her an obstacle where she's throwing, what do you say? She throws at you irons and things or whatever.
No, that she wants that stuff.
She wants that stuff anyway. Maybe so. Maybe just reinforce the misogyny a little bit more.
I knew it was coming.
But yeah, it's ultimately. I mean, I hate to say this, but it's a disappointment. A disappointment.
And there's tons of room for more creatures, different maps. What would have been great scrolling screen, maybe like Benefactor.
Yeah.
And if that's not possible, other caveman cabins that are trying to pick up your fares. That aren't 2 players. If it's the 2-player aspect, clearly you could have 2 on the screen at once. Why not have a guy stealing your fares? Why not make the levels a little more open?
Now, I will tell you this: without having read the docs, I believe that there is a multiplier involved. If you drop off somebody early, you get a thing with an X on it. And
That's
I think
right.
that multiplies
Well, that's
your
just
score.
like Crazy Taxi, the same way.
Yeah, but I mean, we didn't mention that before. But that's something else.
And it flies out when you get there quick enough.
Let me be more positive. The way that your craft controls is excellent.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for any kind of lunar lander type game.
Yes.
I like that sort of thing.
Yes.
And the way that the physics are implemented is very, very impressive. Like you said, you have upward momentum. As you press that stick up, you feel your velocity increasing.
And the way you hit the water and float, that's really, that's
so
some high-level stuff.
The engine, the physics engine, if you will, behind the game is sound.
Yeah, absolutely.
That part of the game is excellent.
Yeah. I would have liked to have seen the game. One thing about this game is, again, if you miss one guy, you're bummed. Okay? So, which I don't like. Give me some more guys. And often you'll finish a level and you'll see another guy coming out. It's like, what's going on? But I mean, I would sit at levels until I died and nothing would ever happen. And I've read some of the reviews and they said the same thing. I thought maybe it was just me, but it's not. The levels this game gets tedious. When you're going back to the levels, for whatever reason, I don't find it that fun to play the game as it is. I don't know what it is. It's an X factor. I don't know what would have made it better for me.
I think if they would have It's literally the exact same background, the exact same rocks, just in a different pattern every stage.
And I skipped forward to like into the 60s to see if
Me too. It never changes.
And it's I mean, there's more water. There's more. The caves are different, and they're tougher to get to.
But the color scheme, everything about the stages, it's like they had a tile set and they're just rearranging the tiles.
I think they didn't do enough with the prehistoric angle. I'd like to have seen more stuff. More critters. I'd like to have seen something that just hounded you instead of that pterodactyl. I'd like to see something that just like followed you around, or dinosaurs that instead of just sleeping. Aside from that one guy, I'd like to see the guy just come out and try to bite you.
Oh yeah.
I think they got a real good idea, threw it down, and then that was it. I noticed that the guy that did the levels in this, which I actually have his name here, at least he did some of the levels, was a guy named Peter Schmitz. He had only one of the game was credit on the Amiga, and it was as a play tester. So I'm wondering about his credentials as a level designer, because again, the level designers just there wasn't a big enough mix for me. Now again, there may be limitations, but I doubt it. I think they just didn't add enough stuff in. You could have had lightning strikes electrifying a ledge when you're on it. You could have had people that you had to, there were a lot of things they could have done to make it more interesting.
I think it would have been a cool bonus game or bonus stage to have. You start out, you've got a platform and you've got a bunch of people on there, and you've got to, take as many as you can to different spots above.
Right.
There's tons of things you
or
could do.
Or they could have like a fire. Fire. And he had to rescue people out of the fire. That would be cool.
Yeah.
They did the flood. But I mean, again, you can only do so much with what they've got.
Right.
So it was, I know some were beating a dead horse, but yeah, it was. I didn't think it was that much fun after I started playing it. So, and I guess if you're really, really good at it, you might enjoy the challenge of it. But to me, I wasn't good enough.
It lost its luster pretty quick, yeah.
So I'll take a look at the scores on this. I think we're going to be in line with these scores, Bo. The people over at Lemon gave it a 7.79, which again is pretty good for the Lemon crowd. Amiga Action gave it a 74. Amiga Format gave it an 88.
That's high.
Amiga Power gave it a 79.
Because remember, Amiga Format is the wacky one where 50% is like a great game or a good game.
CU Amiga gave it a 58, and the One gave it a 71. I would put my score probably in the 70s.
Yeah, I'd say it's a solid 75.
I mean, it's a playable game that's attractive. I like the plot. I like the look of it. I like the sound.
It's got a good beat. You can dance to it.
But it's not. And I'm not a guy that needs a lot of deep gameplay. But even as an arcade game, I would find this a little bit lacking. I looked this up on eBay. Rare is the word I would use. I found. Now they did have this released as a demo disc. And I did see a guy selling that, but I never count those. The only copy I saw currently available was in Italy, and the guy was asking $186 US for the box copy. He had it billed as a CD-TV version, which piqued my interest, but then once you read the description, it says A500-CD-TV. So I guess
did the CD-TV have a disc drive? Doesn't it have a CD?
No, it didn't have one out of the box. No, and it's a disc because he showed to open the box. That's why I looked. I was like, man, did this get a CD-TV release that I didn't know about? And no, it did not. But I mean, it will play if you have the disc drive. But overall, as far as the Caveman games we listed, I would probably put it somewhere in the I don't know, Chuck Rock, probably just below Chuck Rock in my Caveman Hall of Fame. But like I said, the little characters are well animated. The opening's funny, and they have personality. I'll give them that. I think this would be another game that you could come back to in like a portable system, like an iOS or an Android, and you could really spice this up and release it, and it would be a good idea to come back to it.
Cool. Aaron, it's time to talk about Amigathon.
Okay.
So Amigathon is coming up in just over a month, July 7th, 2018.
That's crazy.
Amigathon is our annual charity fundraiser where we play Amiga games non-stop for 12 plus hours. We've already had several $100 worth of donations already. If you'd like to donate, you can click on the link in the description of either the podcast or the video if you're watching on YouTube. And we're doing it through Extra Life to benefit Children's Miracle Network hospitals. For every $1 that you donate, Aaron and I will play 1 minute of your favorite Amiga game or your least favorite Amiga game. There are some games I wonder we're going to be playing if they're people's favorites or ones that they want to punish us with. But also you can decide whether your money should go to Aaron getting the pie in the face or me getting the pie in the face. Or, conversely, traversely, you can say, I want you and Aaron to have a high score challenge on this game, and the loser gets the pie in the face. So that's a popular option because right now Aaron is winning in the I don't want to get a pie in the face. So anyway, that is Amigathon. Do you have any words to say about Amigathon, Aaron?
I'm happy with the amount of interest we've already gotten. It's awesome.
It's going to start earlier this year. We're going to start at 6:30 a.m. Eastern. So it should let those of you in Europe continue to watch us later on into the night than last year. So we're looking forward to that.
It's for a good cause. All the money goes directly to charity, and it always makes me feel happy every time we do it. When we did it last year, I had a nice, happy feeling. It's lasted, and I'm ready to renew the feeling.
Yeah.
Doing it again.
Yeah.
I wasn't happy about the pie, but everything else I was excited
And we're going to
about.
have the same cast of characters. Aaron and I will be there the whole time, of course, but we'll have some of the wacky folks that live in our juncture come and visit us.
Yep.
So yeah, Amigathon. I'd also like to thank Chris Folds. For he is an Amigos Game Selection Committee member on Patreon, and he is the one that suggested we play this title. So thank you, Chris, very much.
Folds.
Yeah, and I'd like to congratulate Mr. Pixels at Dawn for winning our last Patreon song challenge.
Gosh, what was it?
It was "Come Sail Away" by Styx.
You know what got me on that? I didn't know what it was until you did the drum solo.
Was that it?
I was like, oh, it's "Come
So
Sail Away."
what if I do? No, I'm not even going to do it because you just gave me an idea for a future episode or a future song.
All right.
But not today's song.
Oh, we got one today?
So, we have a Patreon page, Aaron, patreon.com/AmigosPodcast, and all of our Patreon supporters, if you donate to us at the supporter level, you get to become part of the illustrious list that gets included in the Patreon song.
Illustrious list.
That's right. Like I said, we've got some new names on it this week. If you know this week's Patreon song, please send me an email at john@amigospodcast.com, and I will announce all of the winners next week.
Very good.
So here we go. Roland Burke, Andrew Monks, Joe the Zombie, John Cook, Dan Ross, Leaf Killand, Alan Kebab, Donald Tyler, Level Lord, John Marshall, Matthew Perron, Ricky DeRocha, Creepy Dead Boy, Figgy CTC, The Slow Norris, Stefan Sorgard Martinson, Edvin Hillan, Blindo75, Christopher Hassel, Ravi Abbott, Chris Foles, Dreamcatcher, Lawrence, Giroux, Graham, Vebke, Brent, Dowdy Lane, Dinson, Adam Battersby, O'Brien's Retro and Vintage, Gary Hucker, C. Brian Jones, Paul Harrington, Duncan Stiles, Alan Kebab, Anthony Jarvis, Tapes from the Crypt, Josh Nan, Adam Bradley, Jonas Rulo, THT, Eric Nelson, Kim, Tommy, Humbert, Stott, Daniel Bingston, Brutal Barracuda, Darren Coles, Jason Warrens, Pixels at Dawn, and Kjol Bjorn Barman.
Wow. You really, really wasted it out there at the end, didn't you? So you got, and I got nothing to say about that. That was beautiful, man.
Well, thank you.
That brought a tear to a glass eye.
I worked on it all week.
Oh, man. That's scary.
All right, Aaron. Next week, who knows what we're going to play?
I was gonna...
We'll just leave it up to your imagination.
Now, we don't have any clue, do we?
No, well, I mean, we know, but we don't know.
We know, but we're not telling nobody.
Yeah, because I've forgotten.
That's what you looked at all week on that.
Yeah, I spent too much time on the But, you know, we want to remind you all that we do record the show live every Friday, except when we don't.
Which is we're not recording next week on
We
Friday.
are recording next week on Friday.
Are we?
Yep.
Okay.
We're back-to-back 2 weeks. And so please join us if you can. We usually start recording around 5:30 p.m. Eastern. And just like the fine folks in the chat, like Edvin Helland, Duncan Styles, Necro Nom, Paul H., Trey Guard was in there,
Creepy
My
Dead
Chicken
Boy,
Not
Daniel.
Raw, Creepy Dead Boy, Daniel Quarter, whole bunch of fine folks in the chat. The chat is always very active, and that's another benefit of being a Patreon supporter is you get access to our Discord channel where we're talking retro and Amiga and all kinds of nonsense 24/7.
There's all kinds of crazy crap on there.
Yeah, I love
some
Discord.
Of it's just like
Discord is
fitness thing and books.
Yeah, Discord is the best thing. It's my favorite part of every day because, you know, after you get done, you finish teaching a class like I do and you're all worn out. You just slump back in your seat and you're waiting for the next class to come in. I just click on the old Discord icon. I'm transported to a wonderland of awesome.
Is that what that is?
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Oh, God.
All right, Aaron. It's time to say goodbye. We'll see you all next week, folks. Until then, adios. All right.
I gotta pee. That L81 goes right through you.
Yeah. I'll be right.
I knew that one, by the way. Right away.
Good. There were several in the chat that did. I'm surprised you knew it. I didn't realize you were
Are you kidding me?
a fan of the Broadway.
Listen. I am the master of the Great White Way. I'm going to put myself through this table here in a minute.
Wow.
Yeah. Fair.
So the AL8, are you familiar with Cherry 7-Up, Edmund? If you can imagine Cherry 7-Up and a little bit, like a quarter of, like, it's like 75% Cherry 7-Up and 25% ginger ale, that's what it tastes like. Do they have Sprite where you are? In over there? Sweden, Norway, Finland. Sorry. 7-Up is like Sprite, if they have that. It's like a lemon lime soda. And then Sweden. All right, sorry. But anyway, if you can imagine like Sprite, like cherry flavored Sprite, and then like a little bit of ginger ale. I don't know if they have ginger ale, but anyway, that's what that is. Pepsi Ginger. Wow. All right, I will be right behind you.
Knock it off.
Well, I gotta also use the facilities.
The L81 got you too.
Plus, I gotta get the fireball ready.
Fireball.
Man, I fired up a pinball machine. This is a great pinball machine. I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
Why don't you ever play that thing?
I play it all the time.
I've never seen you play it one time.
Well, I mean, I've played it once in the last 6 months. But when I did play it last week, I loved it.
Really? All right, what's going on? I'm gonna catch up here. The AL8s, they're not that good, to be honest with you. I'm a huge Mystery Science Theater 3000 fan, yes. Absolutely. I've seen them all. Riff tracks, I've seen all, majority of those. Love them. Love them, love them, love them. But these AL8s, they're actually not that flavorful, to be honest with you. The cherry helps. I think I like them without the cherry better, though. I can't explain why. Listen, I'm not a big ginger ale guy, but they're not really that ginger ale-y. Trying to explain.
I said it was 25% ginger ale, 75% cherry 7-Up.
Yeah, but it's not very sugary either. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Okay. It's time. What do you got there? Are there topics listed on that phone?
Duncan Styles is already submitted a correct answer.
The dunk.
The dunk.
Slam dunk.
I wonder if they know what that is in England. Do you think they know what slam dunk means?
I think so. How many viewers watched last year's Amiga Marathon? What a good question. That's a trick question. You don't even know it because Boat split it up after we did it live.
Well, no. I mean, we know from the analytics how many people watched.
Yeah, but I mean, what I'm saying is, if you count the after live part, it was tons.
Right.
Of people.
Well, the reason why I did that was I was afraid of. I don't know. No, I think we still.
No, he asked how many people watched it.
Right. How many people watched it live?
Oh, I didn't see the last part. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
It's my blindery.
So they do know. They know what slam dunk means.
They knew who Shaquille O'Neal was.
That's true. I forgot about that. Okay. This is not insert disc 2, but we can talk about it. Well, I mean, we can talk about it. I'm going to go ahead and start recording. So, sports worldwide, the #1 sport with the highest revenue. Do you know what it is?
Soccer?
No.
With the highest revenue?
The highest revenue.
For who? The people
worldwide.
playing the sport? Or?
Like the highest, how much money they're taking in. It doesn't matter where the money's going.
NFL?
The NFL.
See, I was confused. I didn't understand the question. Yeah.
Do you know what #2 is?
Worldwide.
This is going to blow your mind.
Well, it may have changed recently. Depends on how you...
No, it doesn't. Revenue is revenue. There's how much money does it take in?
Go ahead and tell me.
Major League Baseball.
Okay, that doesn't surprise me.
Premier League Soccer is #3. I would have thought that Premier League Soccer took in more money worldwide than Major League Baseball.
I don't know. It's, and things are changing with sports as well, and so they're going to be making more money, even if they're. To put it in perspective, this is. I wasn't going to go into this in insert disc 2, but since we're recording, the past week the WWE has just signed a new TV rights, or they're in the process of signing it, but they're signing a new TV rights deal with USA Network and Fox. Fox is dropping the UFC and picking up the WWE.
Really?
Yeah.
So is
And they've signed a deal. Get this, it's a 5-year deal, and in there's 2 different deals. One with Fox for SmackDown, and one with USA for Raw.
Keep talking.
Okay. The total package that they're both 5-year deals.
You drank all of my red cups.
Well, I haven't been over here for weeks.
I've never had one of these out of the thing. You drank every single one of them. Every week you come in and you take the red cups. And what do I get in return?
Me?
That's true.
You got an Amiga cup right there.
Where?
He's chastised me for drinking all these shot cups, guys. Can you believe this? Right in the middle of my story.
I can't drink Fireball out of a... Anyway, continue.
You can't even hear me up there. I'm just going to talk to the chat. I'm done with you. What a punk. He punked me out right there. Let me see. Oh, now Hendrick, that's an interesting topic. You used to coach female basketball. How'd that work out? That sounds like a pretty good deal to me. That seems like a fine position. And is basketball? I know basketball is sort of a worldwide thing now. I mean, it's everywhere. And
baseball is coming to London next year.
I'm sure they've had baseball there before, haven't they?
No.
I've never had a baseball game.
They've never had Major League Baseball.
No. I can't drink a Fireball, I'm afraid. I'm going to drive.
Not even just a little bit?
No, sorry. You're on your own.
All right.
Maybe a smidge, just a tiny little bit.
I knew it.
It's hard to turn down free booze, even though you chastise me. So anyway, getting back to my story. So the WWF, they just signed this deal.
Right.
And over a 5-year period, they're going to make north of $1 billion. Okay?
Okay.
Ponder that for a minute.
That's a lot of money.
They're going to be making over $200 million a year. Now, to put it in perspective, and this is going to be SmackDown going to primetime Fridays on Fox, the network Fox.
So Raw will still be on USA.
That's right, because if USA lost Raw, they would go from like second in the ratings to like fifth.
Right. What else does USA have to offer on?
They don't have anything right now.
Right.
But get this, they just signed this deal. Right now, Monday, Raw posted its second lowest rating of all time.
Was Fandango the headliner?
No. The headliner was they were going up against NBA playoff basketball. So their product has never been less popular. Why are they getting this deal, you might ask? Are you asking that?
Yes.
Do you know why?
My guess is it's Casey Canzaro, former American Ninja Warrior, new head of the Divas. She's going to turn everything around.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about. It's because networks are fearful of DVRs.
True.
And advertisers are drawn to live sporting events.
Very true.
So the UFC has just got the new contract with a bump. The WWF got a new contract with a bump. NASCAR got a new contract with a bump.
Why do you think the WWE didn't offer Raw to Fox?
They offered it to everybody. And then they went with the people that had the most money to throw in on it.
Do you think the USA people have more money than Fox?
They've got more money to offer on this item.
Because I would take some of that football money that Fox has. And
they need that for football.
But they need a little bit of... No. I mean, does anybody watch SmackDown?
Well, they better.
I guess so.
So, okay, enough of this. Now let's get to the good beefy topics.
I'm actually going to restart it because that was nonsense.
Yeah, that's true. So I want to talk about some stuff this week on the Insert Disc 2. And the first thing I want to talk about is, because I found this hilarious, as you may know, this past, in fact, just a couple days ago, the Atari VCS console, the new version, went live on Indiegogo and destroyed its goal. Destroyed the goal. I believe the goal was to raise $100,000, and I believe the last time I checked, they'd raised $2 million. Okay? If you followed this system like I did, it received a continual flow of hate through all the YouTube community.
Community?
And in
hate?
What? The retro community.
The retro community? Hate?
They're not that bad.
What?
They're not that bad. We're part of that community, you goof.
We're not part of that community. We don't hate on people.
Hey, here we are.
We're not part of that community.
Where do these videos go? Do they go to... Where do they go? They go to YouTube. We're not broadcasting on MySpace, pal. Learn to live with it. You're the same jerk just like all the other jerks.
You're the same jerk as everybody else.
Now... I think we mentioned the Atari console briefly a couple months ago. And I think I also mentioned everybody hated it and expected it to get killed. I knew this thing was going to make some money. Ask me why I knew.
Why did you know?
Because the people behind it are putting together a slick presentation. They took it down to get it right. And they've put together something that resembles something that might be cool. If you watch the movie that they put up for it, it was slick. They told you right away what it could do. They said what it might do. Is it something me and you would buy? I don't know, probably not. But with the success of the Nintendo Mini, the Super Nintendo Mini, the upcoming N64 Mini, the Neo Geo Mini, and the many other minis, it's no surprise, and they've just recently announced an Intellivision project that's coming in.
I did hear about that.
Tommy Tallarico.
That intrigues me because Tommy Tallarico is an intriguing fellow.
He is, and he's a talented guy. And he's the guy that's behind the Video Games Live. But all that said, this stuff's hot right now, and people forget the popularity of the Atari 2600 was pretty vast. People that weren't around for it don't understand the appeal, right? And I think there was enough people that said, hey, I want to get in on this. There were enough people that were curious that were willing to throw a couple $100 at it to make it go. I thought there were more than enough people because people were predicting doom and gloom and it's not going to make their funding. I knew they were going to blow past the funding. Did I know they were going to make this much money? No. They showed, in the video, they showed people, this thing has the ability to load up Atari 2600 games, which it comes with like 100, and lets you play them online, live multiplayer, whatever. They also showed newer games like a Tempest 4000. We talked about the possibility of and the speculation of maybe doing some Jaguar stuff. I think it's absolutely going to happen. I think they're going to open up the vaults on a lot of this stuff that you haven't seen. And I think it's got. I'm not saying it's going to be a blowaway item, but I think it's going to do pretty well. I mean, clearly it's going to do halfway well because it's already made $2 million.
I would be willing to bet you almost anything that we will never see anything. No, I don't want to say that because of Tempest 2000.
4,000.
No, 2,000 on the Jag.
Oh yeah.
Aside from that, we will never see anything Jag related on this box.
Well, but they didn't show Tempest 2000.
Well, but I mean, I'm talking about as an outlier. That would be the only thing
Why?
Jag related, because there is no love for the Jag outside of the incredibly minuscule fan community on the internet.
You've got to look at this from a different perspective.
It's not the 2600. It's not the Nintendo. It's not even the Intellivision.
Listen, let me ask you a question though. Now look, just hear me out for a split second.
I want to.
You're Atari, okay?
Okay.
You have your properties.
But
okay?
do you have your property still? Do you own the rights to release Bubsy?
Well, hold on a second. You have your properties, whatever they are, okay? They run from the Atari VCS console and maybe your Pong stuff, all the way up to the Jag. Then they've got some other stuff they released on the PC and whatnot, but that was who knows. You're going to want to put something fresh on the menu. It doesn't have to be something that's widely regarded or well known, but it's different. It looks more modern. If you can't ship a console that's playing Warlords, you've got to do something. You've got to.
So you're going to put out Kitsumi Ninja and say, "Well, this is our modern thing."
You're going to put out Tempest 4000. You're going to put out what are the best games in the Jag? All 2 of them, right? There's only a couple.
There's only one.
There's more than one.
There's only one.
No, I don't agree with you there. I don't agree with you there. There's more than one.
Okay, what's the second one?
Well, what about Alien vs. Predator?
It's crap.
No, it's not.
It's rose-colored glasses nostalgia for a game that was not good on release.
That?
Yeah.
When?
All the time.
You've never played it, both. You argumentative goof. So, I think putting some Jag stuff on there will be something. It's a low-hanging fruit.
Are you sure though? I mean, do you think the Jag is easy to emulate?
I think they can make the Jag work. I mean, it's there.
I think we need to make a wager. Okay.
Everything's got to be competitive.
You want to say what kind of time frame are we looking at here?
What's the wager?
Well, we'll figure that out after we determine the terms.
No, I don't want to make a wager. I don't bet. It's against the rules.
It doesn't have to be anything big. I bet you.
Would you stop with the pie, Duncan?
There it is. It's the pie.
No, I'm not doing the pie. Now I've already got my.
With what do you think? When do you think? When is this box coming out?
It is slated to ship in spring.
In the spring. Okay. So if it's not coming out until spring of 2019, then when do you think the very earliest you'd see Jag content would be?
Launch.
Okay. So why don't we say by next September 2019, if there is Jag content that's not Tempest 2000 on the Atari box, I will do whatever you want.
No, I'm not making no bets.
Because you know I'm right.
I'm not.
Nobody's
not
bringing back that
anything.
freaking tank game that's awful.
No,
that other
that one
thing.
back.
Yeah, there's nothing on there to bring back.
Atari has a limited library of more modern
They'll hire
titles.
people to code something better in like the span of weeks that would be better than any Jag title.
Even if Tempest comes out on it, that's a top tier game.
That's the only game.
That's still a game.
And Tempest 4000 is going to be better than Tempest 2000. Twice as better.
Is it? Well, twice as better.
It's 4000.
I'm just saying. I think they'll use their properties to their fullest. I would definitely use your properties to its fullest.
I think that they're on the right track with making this thing look like it does and saying it plays all the games that you like by Atari and you can do it online multiplayer. Now, is that fact alone going to make it jump off the shelves? What's the MSRP on this?
It varies depending on what setup you get. They've got 2 different styles.
Having different setups? I don't know.
Well, it's not. I mean, they're just cosmetic. There's two different types. There's a jet black.
So there's the Vader and the Woody,
and a wood grain, and then you've also got you can optionally have joystick or gamepad or both or neither.
It seems like this is a lot of dilution for a market that's already pretty small.
It's already raised $2 million.
Here's my theory on that. I think that they get investors together that make shadow Indiegogo accounts that they're like, okay, we've already got $100,000, so I'm going to give all of these people $1,000. I'm going to give 100 people $1,000. They're all going to contribute that money, so it makes us look like a big success. Success feeds on success in all these campaigns, on all these Kickstarter and Indiegogo campaigns, and what you end up with is the Ouya. The Ouya raised $8 million. $8 million on Kickstarter.
First of all, I don't know what you base this conspiracy theory on.
The same thing I do all my conspiracy theories.
Pull it out of the air. And secondly, the Ouya was the fresh item on the menu at the time. You got to remember, people are like, "Oh, the Ouya, what a piece of crap!" No, I had 2 Ouyas.
But the Ouya was a piece of crap.
No, it wasn't. It was exactly what they said it would be. It was a little Linux box that came with a joystick. The problem with that is like by the time they got it shipped, everybody and their brother had come up with something similar, and they'd done it at least as well, except for the game stick, which I also have, which is horrible. They're little Linux boxes, but you got to think there was no little Linux box when that came out. That's why it generated so much interest. And back in those days, the thought of having a console that was free to hack on, and it had a store, you didn't have to follow the rules of Nintendo or Microsoft, do whatever you want. It was a very appealing idea until they realized that part of the reason you're following the rules of Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo is because their infrastructure is awesome. They've got tons of support. They've got tons of people making crap for their machine. And if you had an Ouya like I did, you'll realize the store was barren, the prices were idiotic, and the joystick was horrible. And so now once you cracked it open, it still wasn't that great, but it was. It's just totally different than that.
Okay.
This is because the Ouya didn't really appeal to this nostalgia crowd like the Atari VCS will.
I think that's true.
Listen, what have I said about all these minis? To me, they seem pointless. To me, I can see the value of them to other people, but to me, they seem pointless. Right? This is no different. But all those other things sold great. Will this make Atari Super Nintendo Mini? Yeah, there it is. Will this make Super Nintendo Mini money? No, this will make mini money, but it will make money because their overheads are probably pretty low going through Indiegogo. And I think this will give them enough money to get something put out. And since they have said, okay, here's what it's going to do. It's going to play Netflix. It's going to be a Linux computer.
I thought they said it wasn't going to play Netflix.
It absolutely does.
Okay. I thought that was part of their pitch. Is like, this is a games machine for gamers.
No, I think that was the Intellivision guy was saying that.
Okay,
but anyway,
I got that confused.
It's going to do some pretty lame stuff. It's a Linux box. Will it run Atari? Yes, but everything runs Atari.
Right. I think that it all depends on the software that they build into it that runs on top of it. Like whatever magic that they do to make games online and in multiplayer and stuff like that. If they have online leaderboards, that's cool. And people like us are always going to say, well, you could do that with emulators, blah, blah, blah. But not many people do that. And
yeah, that's something else that people forget.
Yeah.
Some of the YouTube crowds, most people aren't as tech savvy as people that are making content are.
Yeah.
They're just average people. And my dad or somebody that really was in the Atari, which he wasn't, but they might take a chance on this.
Mm-hmm.
They might not.
Oh, I'm sorry. We didn't actually. You said that there were different versions, but what's the cheapest version of this?
I think it's right around a couple $100. I don't know. I can't tell you exactly.
So it's already It's already twice as much as the Super Nintendo Mini.
It's absolutely
more than twice as much.
I guess the promise is it's a more open system that will do more. Okay, allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Linux box, so theoretically you could play Super Nintendo games on it if you wanted to. It depends. I don't know how they're going to go. And really, let me ask you, getting back to the Ouya, was the Ouya a success?
Okay, I played with your Ouya.
Mm-hmm. Wow! Don't tell people that on the air.
And the controller was unusably bad.
It was not good.
Game over, man.
No,
Game
over.
over. That's the end.
You're not looking at it like I am. Was it a success?
Well, of course it wasn't.
It was absolutely a success because they laid $8 million before they shipped Unit 1.
Well, was it a financial success? I don't know. At the end of the day, by the time they sold the company off, I don't know what their figures are.
They probably did.
They raised a lot of money, but there's lots of companies that raise a lot of money that don't stick around very long.
I would wager they did pretty. They got their money and got out, which I would also wager that's what Atari will probably end up doing. Because when this thing is out in the wild for a week or a month or a year, what benefit is there to a device that everyone's got, that no one really needs another one of, and is getting little to no support in a year? Because I don't see I just don't see that much forward progress on this. I mean, even if it's a huge success, everyone's got one, you're going to have similar things in your on your phone.
It'll sort of be like, the flashback system sold very well. They've made 8 of them.
All right.
So this is like a flashback, except it's got, well, I guess the newer ones have HDMI, but this has got online capabilities.
Price point, though, is what worries me.
Oh, yeah. It's so much more.
I mean,
it's so much more. I just can't imagine.
You're dropping a couple, I mean, those little mini Ataris and stuff, the flashbacks, that's what, $60, something like that?
Your casual Atari fan is not going to spend $200 on this, and your hardcore Atari fan sees through this at what it is and is not going to buy it.
Now, you're going to get collectors picking it up.
Yeah.
Especially since the wood grain one's got real wood. You heard that tale.
Mm-hmm.
But that market's only going to take you so far.
Right.
And that price point is scary. It tells me that they've probably got something halfway decent under the hood. And I'm sure they've marked themselves a decent little profit into that mix to get some of that money. $60 is an impulse buy. $200, that's
not for me. That's not an impulse buy for me.
Money.
That's $100 less than a Switch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there you go. So there you go. So anyway, but what it'll be interesting to follow and see what happens. Tomorrow is Korgs, the Columbus Retro Gaming Society's big event, which I think I have talked myself out of going to because no one wants to go with me, and I don't want to go to Columbus by myself because it'd be boring. So I probably will not get to go to Korgs. I may change my mind. Really, the main factor is that my son's ball game is tomorrow. It's his last game of the year.
Oh, man.
And it's exactly at the point where I can't play. It's at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's a real bummer.
So any playoffs going on? All-star team?
They don't do that stuff in his league. They don't even keep score. So, but he's having a good year.
That's good.
He's had a real good year.
He's going to be in 2nd grade next year?
He's 3rd grade.
Third grade next year. So they got to start keeping score pretty soon.
Yeah, next year they'll start getting into a little hot and heavy. I also want to talk about this new thing I read about. This fellow did with the NES. Did you see this floating around?
Well, I saw what you posted.
He has managed to take a Raspberry Pi Zero and insert it into a Nintendo cartridge, and with this item, it will let him, with the circuitry he's put in there, it will let him play Super Nintendo game on his Nintendo.
Right. It's like Rob Zombie said, more human than human.
It's amazing. It's an amazing technical achievement. Wouldn't you agree?
Sure. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's hard to do what he did or not. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes.
It's very inventive. I think what he did was very creative. I've oft wondered, because you know what this reminds me of? What's it remind you of?
It reminds me of the opposite thing, where I had a thing that plugged into my Super Nintendo that would play NES games.
No. The correct answer is it reminds you of the Vampire. Here you have effectively an emulator that seizes certain systems in a console or computer and takes and basically makes it a zombie, which
like I said, more human than human.
Use which you use the joystick, the TV outputs. I don't believe he had sound working. It's quite an astounding feat to pull this off. I was very impressed. I doubt this will go anywhere. I can't imagine people wanting to play their Super Nintendo games on their Nintendo, but it's still interesting. I was pretty impressed with the overall effort and the way he went about it. And the way he described it. I don't know if you watched the video, but he says it's like a big joke that he's doing, and the joke is that he can do this. It's not a joke that he did it. He's a strange guy, but it was pretty. I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah. This past weekend, I went to Louisville.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny when you go to a place like Louisville and you spend some time there and you realize that everything there is just like here, except everything's just a little bit better. You know, there's more stuff to do. There's more opportunities for things.
Don't look over there. Look over here. I was just pointing at the screen going, yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay.
I put it in your world.
And
your world. Ooh, I'm going in there.
I went to my family reunion.
Yeah. And where was this at in Louisville?
This was actually my family reunion was actually it was across the river in Indiana, because that's where they're mostly located.
That's the land of misfit toys.
And this was the highest concentration of people I'd seen smoking in years. You
A lot
know?
of smokers in your family?
Oh, apparently all of them, you know, except for my immediate family. Of course, my dad smoked for years, and then he stopped when my brother was born. He smoked a pipe. But yeah, it just reminded me of like how different things are than they used to be. Because you used to be anywhere you go, you'd see people smoking, you know, restaurants or, you know, outside. And like you still will see some people, but I mean, I don't know, at your workplace, are there still a heavy contingent of people that take a break and go outside and smoke a cigarette?
You cannot smoke at or near a Kentucky government facility. So that's a no. That's a non-starter, and no one there smokes. Now my partner used to smoke, but he quit. Since I've been there, it's funny you should mention that because I'm going to say some stuff that is very controversial here.
Controversy.
So I grew up just like you. In fact, much longer ago than you, and smoking. Every sucker smoked. And my mom and dad didn't smoke. My brother didn't smoke. I don't smoke, but everywhere you went, you had a smoking and non-smoking section. You had people smoking on the bus, people smoking on the plane, people smoking in the restaurants, people smoking in the bowling alley, and people smoking at the wrestling matches, the concerts. Smoking. And I know some people violently hate smoking and smokers. I can't. I don't know if it's because of the way I grew up. You know, they do what they want, and smoke never bothered me that much. And I know the whole situation of secondhand smoke, but
just you didn't have a physical reaction to it.
No.
Yeah.
But I grew up and matured, and when I went out to bars and shows, people were always smoking, and it was actually sort of part of the atmosphere to me. So when I go places now, and like when I go see wrestling, there's a vibe that's different because it's not, you know, in boxing you always used to hear the boxing in these smoky arenas. Well, that's exactly what they were. People were smoking in the arena, and it would get smoky, and it did provide this ambiance.
Oh yeah, and you look at old photos. There's this blue cloud among, like, if you look at old basketball photos like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and stuff, you'll see like he's shrouded in this blue fog, and it's all the cigarette smoke in the arena. It's a really cool thing.
When I used to go to bars as I got older, I used to smoke cigars quite a bit back in the day. Never got into cigarettes and couldn't smoke a ton. It's like I can go smoke like 10 cigars. So I like to go to, when I was drinking at the bar, I would like to have me a big stogie going. Well, you know, they banned smoking almost everywhere, and so that took away from my enjoyment of going out to drink at the bar. Believe it or not, I like to sit down with my stogie and have my bourbon or whatever. And it's one of those things. Now, here's things I don't. And my roommates used to smoke, Rich, and everything in the apartment smelled like smoke all the time. So that does get old.
Yeah.
When you went out to the club or the bar, and when you got home, you smelled like a stinky ashtray. And that stuff doesn't just come off. You know, it's anywhere you go, you smell like a smoker. So it's listen, in the long run, it's a good thing. Obviously, people just smoke is bad or whatever, but you know.
Yeah, I feel sort of the same way. Even when I was in college, you could still smoke in bars and stuff, and I always thought it was kind of hot, you know, you watch a girl smoke, like he's got a cigarette, you know. I thought it was cool. I mean, now get close to her and it's like you actually smell the person that's been smoking. It's not quite as hot, but I can understand the appeal, and that's part of how cigarette companies market it.
You know, when I worked at Lexmark, everyone smoked. When I worked at IBM Lexmark, and I'd go out and hang out with a smoker sometimes, and they had an area out back. The closest you could smoke to the building was this back door, right? And so the smokers would be out there. You ever seen that March of the Penguins? When when all the penguins are up in the Antarctica.
Oh yeah.
They would all huddle together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it, like, for warmth. And the smokers would do that, and they would all be huddled in, and the smoke would just rise up like a
bonfire,
monolith or something down the middle. And it was very bizarre looking.
Wow.
But one thing that smoking started to do as I got older in the 90s and on forward is it made these smokers like a very tight band of misfits that were all, and sometimes they'd get very militant about it, you know. And I always felt sort of bad for them that they had to go out and smoke these cigarettes. Here they are doing something unhealthy anyway. Now they're out in 2-degree weather, freezing their butts off, and they're trying to get their smoke in. But the flip side of it is you're out in 2-degree weather, man. That's a sign. Probably should quit. But you know, I've never had a problem with smoker. I used to tell people, it's like, man, smoking's no good. It's like, listen, you know, they came for the smokes. one of these days they're going to come for your booze. They're going to come for your fatty foods. They're going to come from the kind of movie. I'm always concerned that they're going to take this stuff too far.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, absolutely. But I wanted to show you these. This is an item that you can buy at the convenience store in the candy aisle. That looks exactly like a pack of cigarettes. You know how much this costs? This is the least expensive candy I've ever bought.
Probably, I don't know, 50 cents.
29 cents.
Pop it up. You're going to open it up?
Yeah, I was going to open it up here on the
Now, when I was a kid, they made these candy cigarettes that you could blow into, and it would smoke.
Right, you get a little puff. Yeah, yeah.
But they think they banned those.
They don't have those anymore.
Yeah.
This is that now they just sell candy in a cigarette package.
You know, me and my partner were out in the armpit of Kentucky one time, and I was in a convenience store getting a pop, and I saw those. And I had not seen candy cigarettes for like decades. I couldn't believe it. And now I've seen them more and more here recently.
Did you ever have the bubblegum cigar?
Absolutely, yeah.
See, I don't remember having those. I just remember the candy cigarettes.
In the old days, when someone had a baby, they would hand out cigars.
Right.
You know? And occasionally, I would see these guys hand out the candy cigars, the bubblegum cigars, or they'd have both, and they'd ask you, you know. So that is the most... olive oil style, low end, shriveled up.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a rolled your own.
There you go. Do you feel cooler?
Oh, I feel awesome.
It's like I'm sure some of you've had these, but if you ever took the notion to go in like to your 3rd grade class and just eat a piece of chalk, just eat it. That is a very similar sensation to what it is to eat these candy cigarettes.
They are not good. This has got beef gelatin in it, by the way.
That's my favorite.
Ingredients: dextrose, cornstarch, corn syrup, tapioca, beef gelatin.
Tapioca.
And that always obscure artificial flavors.
So you're telling me if I'm a vegan or a vegetarian,
you can't have any Jello because it's all
What a bummer, man.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Jello guy anyway.
You don't like Jello?
I mean, it's okay, but it's not like I go out of I'm not jonesing for a bunch of Jello. It's like I gotta have it, man. Yeah. Candy cigarettes, crazy.
Yeah, but I just saw this and I was like, I bet they don't have this in Europe. They don't have candy cigarettes.
Really?
Of course, you know the big thing now is Juul. Have you heard about Juul before?
The singer?
No.
I like her.
Juul is a new way to vape. Okay, and I think this is a Scandinavian thing. The people in the chat can tell me about it.
Ooh, licorice pipe.
But it's like it looks like a USB drive, and you charge it in your USB drive, but you can vape with it. And this is what all the kids use now because it just looks like a USB drive, and it's called Juul. J-U-U-L.
How do you blow? Where's the mouthpiece?
It's all built in. Well, I mean, it's like the end of the USB drive. You can picture like a long USB drive. The end of it's got a hole, and it comes through and all that stuff. And
how long does it charge?
I don't know the specifics of Juul.
Does anyone at your school do this?
Oh, I guarantee you, without the shadow of a doubt, that people.
What's
do
your
that.
opinion on vaping?
Vaping is
because I've vaped myself a few times.
I think that vaping, like the vaping subculture, is somewhat hilarious because it's just like any other subculture where you have the people and it's like, well, what's your rig look like? You know, and you talk about the wattage and the battery and all that stuff and the mixture. And like, but I don't think that we truly know. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of regulation about what goes into all these mixtures. And I wonder if it's going to come out later on that there was some bad stuff in the vapes.
Well, you know who first turned me on to the whole e-cigarette thing was Chudley, the Chad.
Really? Because he used to be a smoker.
He did, and he was looking for something to get him off the sticks.
Right.
So he looked into vaping before it had a name.
Right.
And it was all, and I'm sure you folks, fine folks, know it's all out of Europe at the time. They didn't have it in the U.S. Mm-hmm. And so he got online and ordered something from like Russia or something. Well, they tried to steal his credit card or something. So he never got that thing. And eventually he gave up. Mm-hmm. And then one time I was at a truck stop and I saw an e-cigarette. And I bought it. I'm like, I got to try this. It was menthol. I almost said methane. It was menthol. It was a methane cigarette. That didn't go down too good. And I was like, wow, look at this. And I tried it, and I was like, "This is pretty good." And it lasted a while, you know. I don't smoke cigarettes, but still, I tried it, you know. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, it's just like overnight, like those vape shops were everywhere.
Yeah,
know?
I mean, it's a $1 billion industry.
And I have a rig, but unfortunately, it got smashed. Like I didn't get to use it that much either.
Tell me about your rig.
I don't know anything about it. Like it was a Christmas gift, you know. And I liked it because you could get nicotine stuff for it, and so which I didn't give nicotine that I don't give a crap.
Right.
You know,
you just like the sensation of just like breathing in, breathing out.
That's right. Like so, I have a pipe too. Now, but I haven't used that thing for years. I got that from Russia, but it's I like to draw it in and stuff, and I like a good smoke now and again. But I don't need all the extra crap that comes in there. But yeah, you're right. No one really knows for sure what's in them. I feel bad for the vape people. Yeah, they're now under fire. And you're right, no one knows for sure what's going on. But I mean, here these poor suckers switch over to vape. They're trying to help themselves and get people off their back, and now you can't do that.
Well, I think it's a double-edged sword because is vaping safer than smoking cigarettes? Absolutely, 100% yes.
Oh, yeah.
But is vaping better than not doing that at all for the teenager? And the answer is probably not. And so
I suspect more teenagers are vaping now than were smoking cigarettes 10 years ago.
Absolutely, and that's the issue. But
I've got to get one of these licorice pipes.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of that?
No. Licorice pipes.
Are they just actually pipes made up? Look that up, Boat. Let's have a picture of that.
Yeah.
So, Edwin, I got to ask you, are these snooze? We don't have that.
Oh, yeah, we do have snooze.
We do?
Yeah, you don't know about, man, you got to attend more sessions that I have to sit through at school.
All right, what's a snooze?
So snooze is like,
Give me the snooze.
It's like smokeless, it's a form of smokeless tobacco. So it's just like instead of having a big wad, and the snooze is only a little bit. You just put a little bit under the tongue there and gets you the little nicotine buzz.
Sort of like a Skull Bandit?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that it's almost the same thing.
Oh yeah, I never got into snuff.
Yeah.
Hey, give me another smoke.
All right.
So, licorice pipe. Now, getting back to this, is this a pipe made of licorice, and you just eat the pipe? Because I'm down with that.
I'm looking at this right now on Amazon. I'll throw this up on the board here. No, I won't. That's still Big News freaks out. I've got the wrong window open.
Oh man.
A second. Bear with me here. Things are going off the rails.
Remember when you probably don't remember this, but remember when you were watching TV and sometimes they'd say like, we're experiencing technical difficulties.
Right, oh yeah.
And they'd play this music, you'd be like, like circus music or like something you would have played back in the 30s when you're on stage,
There'd be that picture of that, wasn't there like an Indian chief or something in the test pattern? And like there's, anyway. So this is a licorice pipe. 2017 official release. I guess it's just a pipe made of licorice.
See, oh yeah, that looks great.
Yeah, I wonder if you put
candy pipe.
You put some tobacco in there, you smoke it, and then you eat the pipe. And that's what you do. It's a full service industry. There's Big Nose again.
I like that. See, we need to get some of those.
But apparently I guess they're banned in Norway.
Why?
Is that what they said? I don't know.
It's candy. We got it.
Yeah.
And they got different flavors too.
Yeah.
The big, huge, thick licorice sticks.
You like those? The ones you got from Webke?
Yeah. I have just gotten through the last pack of those things.
Oh man.
That's how long those things last.
This fire. What is it called? Fire Eater? Fireball. The Fireball. This came from Graham too. Graham's done well by the Amigos.
He's a good man.
Yeah.
And that candy he sent down, oh man, what a package of delicious.
I still remember the halcyon days of that Amigos mailbag.
Yeah, that was good eating there.
Yeah.
But a licorice pipe, I could get down. So this is our tobacco and smoking episode.
Yeah, it's the long-awaited tobacco and smoking episode.
Let's take this thing to the houseboat.
Before we do, I just want to ask: did you ever dip a little bit in school?
Absolutely not.
A little bit, just a little
Disgusting.
bit out on the baseball field.
No.
I remember playing Babe Ruth over there by the wave pool park, and that was the thing because we were in high school at that point, and everybody had the spit cup, and everybody's, a little bit of that. Just
That's
like
what
the big
turned me off with the whole dipping. Because I've almost drank out of the spit cups everyone has.
Gosh.
And you look into that disgusting thing, you're like, holy God, no.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nasty. I remember Coach May.
So wait a minute, you're telling me you, prim and proper, sweater vest Boat, used to dip?
No, I never did.
Oh man, that would have been awesome.
I kind of wish that I would have so I could tell you that I did, but really that's the only reason why I wish I did. That
would have changed my whole opinion of you.
I've never been more repulsed by any one action than that of smokeless tobacco use. I've done. I've smoked pretty much everything else, but I used to do the pipe a lot. I was a big pipe smoker. I had exotic pipes.
I've got an exotic pipe too. We should get together and smoke sometime.
We should.
So weren't we going to smoke down here? But then your wife banned that.
She kiboshed that. That was no good by her.
You're lucky that she's taking care of you because you'd been off the rails a long time ago.
Yeah, I'd be smoking in here all the time, constantly. But yeah, I tried cigarettes one time ever.
Sorry, Jason.
But
don't worry, it's tape, bro.
yeah, it's all good. It'll be back before you know it. You ready to close this thing out, Aaron?
Close it out, yo.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Until then,
adios. Thanks for coming around, guys. I enjoyed it. It's good to have the chat back.
Edvin, it was strictly tobacco with the pipe. When I was a pipe smoker, I never put anything else in there.
We love you guys. Thanks for coming around, man.
See you later.